Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Casting the Spotlight episode number 236. And we are now in July, which means here shortly we will be, and this is what this episode is going to be, the celebration of America's 250th anniversary as a country. Independence Day.
Yeah, it's kind of I don't know if we've ever really had an official Independence Day special.
I don't think so. We've talked
about it on the on the show and stuff.
Yeah,
we've had St. Patty's Day specials and stuff, and Christmas and Halloween, obviously, because those are like our shit. But
yeah, not. There's been some close.
It's
I would
big
say
one, though. It's a big one.
It is. No, it is for sure. And I think we've alluded to it and we've talked about it, but we have. I don't know if we've had anything officially for the 4th of July. So that is what kind of makes it interesting with tonight. And obviously, too, just by incident and by happenstance, we've been reviewing a lot of movies that are war affiliated. So you're going to see the American point of view in quite a few of those. We've also seen other points of view in other countries involved. But it's came up kind of frequently because we've had so many war movies on the list, in which there's just so many that neither one of us hadn't seen, whether it was after the war, before the war, during the war. So those just happened to come up when they came up. But I feel like we've definitely hit on a bunch of them here lately.
Yeah, it's funny because you kind of go down that rabbit hole once you start, It's that's the problem, is I still have a few kind of historical or war films kind of on the list, but I'm I want to hold off for a minute because I feel like I've done a lot of those recently,
Yeah. No, I'm not complaining about it. I'm it's just because we've gotten to that place and we're digging into different pockets of where there's movies that the other one hasn't seen too. And sometimes it's relevant in war movies because there's so many of those, and we've also watched so many great ones together too. But there's just an enormous amount always to see, I feel like. And even we've talked about before, just even World War II alone, in so many other wars as well, but there's just so many different parts and perspectives to tell stories from. They could make those for another fucking 50 years,
Yeah.
So
that's the thing, is people say a lot of the times history's stranger than fiction,
Yeah.
It's kind of true sometimes if you really dive into some of the stories that have actually happened throughout the world, throughout history, even our own history in the 250 years. It's there's a lot of stories to be told, man, all the time. That's it's just humanity.
Yeah.
We create stories, man. As nations, as a world, that's just 250 years, though. That's something, dude. It really is something.
It doesn't. Most countries in the world's document constitution per se, or written word of the land. It's never. It doesn't usually last as long as ours has. So regardless of the state of the union at the current moment, the fact that it's lasted 250 years and grown is pretty remarkable still. You know what I mean? And we always convince ourselves that
as a nation,
democracy is an upheaval and this and that's happening. And it's not to say that some of those things might not be happening, but it's also just we're still, we might be divided opinion wise on many things as far as a nation goes. But I feel like to a degree it's always been like that.
But it is the classic saying, it really is the classic saying, united we stand, divided we fall.
We did episodes like that.
That's
not too far after Jan 6, 2021.
That's just it's
remember that? We did the two-parter?
Yeah.
It's what you're gonna say, it's kind of the
state of things nowadays. It's that is a very pertinent phrase, It's it makes a lot of sense. Well, it holds a lot of weight.
In the fear that we, not the fear, but the quote that we came into where Franklin D. Roosevelt was talking about the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. like, because so many of the changes, and it's not to say that every change is good either, but it's like we obviously got to progress and change on some level too, which is why I'm like opinionated on a lot of things, because we can't just stay in the same spot and we have to move along as things go along. But it's like, it's not to say at the same time, then this is where I draw that line. It's not to say that every single new idea is a good idea. You know what I mean?
Well, and it's not to say
they're
that
not.
Humanity, which has mentality-wise, and I'm not even saying that everybody's mentality is all, like, obviously there's people that are more forward-thinking and more, like, withholding in their ways and their values. You know, that it's just how it's going to be.
They have to balance each other out.
Everything always, but like, it just feels like now it's like people don't have. It's not discussion.
And it should. What it really should be is like, is those discussions. Well, I hold these things true, and like they may align more this way. This, but it should be more like nuanced across the board than just just not liking people.
Yeah, nobody should be blindly
like, that's crazy.
Blindly supporting and following parties just because you're like, I'm this and I want to be against this.
Well, and at this point too, they've both, the dominant parties at least, have proven themselves to be very like, there's issues that like they'll like just flip-flop on it by the convenience of the times and what happens to what people, because it'll be like, oh, the narrative will be spun this way if like this thing happened. Oh, but we're gonna stick up for this here. Like, it's so fucking hypocritical.
Or they'll say this
ridiculous
until the time comes to actually do or stand up for this, and then it's like, well, I didn't really mean that.
It became about more like identity type things, which is like crazy because it should be about thought and differences, like on an intellectual level, like what should we do about this? Are these sometimes like more, maybe we should deal with all the problems, but it's like, am I going to vote on, do these problems need to be solved right now and are better for the future, or like are these ones? You know what I'm saying? Like what is more important to you in like ways? And it's not to say that they can't flip flop or like have their differences, but it's like some of the time it's only about fighting the other side, that it's like, this doesn't even feel like whenever either one of you get in here, we're gonna actually fix things. It's just gonna be about trying to fucking stick it to the other party.
Oh yeah.
Or the other, you know what I mean? It's just like, why don't you actually get in there, whoever it is, and get some shit fucking done? You know what I mean?
It's kind of hilarious that like the founding fathers were very worried about this. That they were like, well, we gotta, I don't want to really create political parties because it's just gonna create division and people are gonna start fighting.
I'm glad you brought that up.
And like it's, and it really wasn't that long at all. That after political parties were like created, it was, even within the 1800s, it was like people were already like, no, fuck you. It was like cutthroat.
Oh yeah.
Already at that point, because ideals had pushed so hard against each other,
We were united
so
to become independent, but you knew it wasn't going to stay that way. It was, it was going to
become issues. Yeah.
But throughout time, they still, we don't have to dig too deep into that. But like, for the longest time,
segment,
that's
anyways,
true. But for the longest time too, it was still like, even though we were, dude, there's been some nasty elections in history. I mean, like, and well before we were born, some just nasty, brutal, you know what I mean, like that have taken place. But always people are like, at the end of the day, I think regardless, and this is the more important part of it, and this isn't standing up for one party or another or any sort of particular set of ideals, but it's like, it sounds cliche, but we all are Americans. So like, theoretically, you would love to be able to be like, all right, well, I lost to this person. Let's do our best in supporting what they're going for. and we'll just, you know what I mean? Like, we don't want people to fail as like leaders, because a lot of times that means everybody fails, you know what I mean? And so it's not, you don't want that to come down on the typical American person.
I mean, yeah, you should always be able to question the leader and push back, but also you shouldn't just wish harm and failure upon, because that is the nation, you know, at the end of the day.
And that's why we have legislation, that's why we have houses, that's why we have a Supreme Court. Like, there, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's other people making those decisions anyway, although, and this has been the case for decades, it's not just like with Trump, but it's like, it does feel like at times, especially because of the executive order that many of them have implemented, especially Trump and Biden during like their terms, have just bypassed all the House stuff, and like they just create an enormous amount of executive orders. So it's like, in a way, at least in the short term, the executive branch, and it wasn't supposed to be like this, has a lot of power. You know what I mean? It feels like that.
Temporary power.
Temporary power. Because the next person can just reverse a lot of those things.
Yeah.
And that's what I didn't understand, because like when either or got elected too, and they reversed some of the other things, it's just like, you know that's only a temporary thing. Like, yeah, you could maybe make people happy for now, but it's like, what is really the point unless you can actually fucking pass
legislation through.
Exactly. And I question that too, because I'm like, it's a way to, and maybe it is because of that. I'm gonna appease my audience in the short term so that they know I'm actually trying to go after their interests. But
by doing that, all you're doing is pissing off your House and Congress, and it's just
because they act like they don't even. Dude, some of those motherfuckers, and you can't say this is wrong, and I'm talking about both parties. Like, some of those motherfuckers are worthless, though. There's too many of them making dumb fuck decisions. There's too many people in fucking Congress.
We can say that, but at the same time, there needs to be as many people probably as there is, at least, because there's never been more people in the fucking country.
Well, there's an argument for that, I will acknowledge. But the Founding Fathers also advised against this. The government was too big. They were never supposed to take care of... They were supposed to serve the people, but they were not supposed to be... The people were never supposed to be reliant upon them. That's what they didn't envision. And I know that was 250 years ago.
Didn't want the government to have too much influence
or
power.
But the core identity of what they believed, everything they said still makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can apply those principles to today, but you also know
of how to run
that,
a country.
Exactly. And it's not that things need to stay how they were in 1780. It's more so that with what they believed in, what they established this country by signing the Declaration of Independence, by signing the United States Constitution, would grant this country its own set of ideals and principles, Bill of Rights, and so forth, by amendment to stand by, and that's what we're going to follow. And that's the way it should be. You know what I mean? As an American, that's the way it should be. And that's what I am at the end of the day more than anything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know, that's why I'm like, I'm not afraid to rep the flag. I fucking love repping the flag. Like, I'm not like too, I am, but I'm not too crazy about it, like in your face. I don't have any fucking bumper stickers or flags or whatever the fuck on my car. It's just like, I'm just not that person. But like, I am absolutely proud still to be here over anywhere else. And obviously tonight, even transitioning before we go too far down the rabbit hole, before we start.
I mean, hey, it's the patriotism episode.
And this is fun. But I should be fucking opening mine anyway. But tonight, of all occasion, this kind of fits it too. Not that it's going to be political. It's going to be more of a historical context, conversational avenue. But we drew the category for this or that on tonight's America 250 special here. We drew the category of U.S. presidents. So if you're unfamiliar with the category or the segment this or that, it's one thing against 10 other things, basically going through a gauntlet of said things, and we kind of add it all up and figure out how the measuring stick did against everyone else. And in this occasion tonight, U.S. presidents. So this is open board. We've had 45 gentlemen, 47 technically elected presidents since Donald Trump and Grover Cleveland won, 2 separate terms in sequential. So, but anyway, we've got some lists tonight
the
for you.
U.S. presidents. Yeah, this is an interesting.
This is gonna be interesting. It's kind of fun now. Like now that we've built it up with that conversation, we just had to. It'll be kind of interesting to get into. So yeah. All right. Well, we've got plenty of options here. We could fucking even do this category a few times if we wanted to.
Yeah. Well, I'm up to read. You are up to answer. So your main is gonna be the one and only hometown boy,
Oh wow.
Mr. Adam Bomb, Harry S. Truman.
Oh man.
And I say Mr. Adam Bomb like pretty much jokingly because I actually stand up for Harry Truman in a lot of ways. He had a very, very tough presidency too because he followed up FDR. It was the end of World War II. It was like trying to settle relations with Russia and what we were doing, like teaming with England and how we were going to handle all this shit, you know what I mean?
Trying to reassure Americans that everything was going to be good.
Yeah.
I mean, that things were going to, and they did. I mean, we stepped up. Like, the women went to work, the men went to war, you know what I'm saying? Like, the country was growing, and, like, thankfully out of that, I don't mean to cut you off, but I was going to say, thankfully out of that, like, best case scenario happened, and everybody just went about their work, came back here, and shit just fucking boomed.
Yeah.
And then the whole baby boomer generation of having a ton of kids and people prospering because capitalism was at like an all-time high and shit was really excelling post-World War II.
Yeah. But yeah, he had a lot of weight fall on him too because of the atom bombs and like the information that he got over them too was like that they were mainly military-based targets, and that obviously wasn't really fully the case. And I mean, there was a lot of decisions he made too during his presidency involving like things that kind of ended up pushing stuff forward, but at the time were seen as unpopular. And his popularity rating was low as hell at a point in time, but like the stuff he was doing was things that in the future were going to be good. You know what I mean? Like, and on top of that, dude, he felt like just a normal dude. Like he did.
He felt like a guy from the neighborhood.
He came from working on his family's farm as a young man and shit. You know, like he literally was like the family man farm boy that became the president.
He feels like he resonates just because, I mean, not even just the Missouri thing, but like you look at him, you listen to him, you look at the way his presidency went to, he definitely feels like he resonates. You know what I mean? So that's an interesting pick actually.
And I mean, he's in a stretch of presidents that I kind of hold in high regard. Because it's like FDR.
He came into power and then he won his term.
Yeah.
So he still served like the whole thing. So it's like, I mean, that speaks for itself because people still had years to live with that information of what we had to do, unfortunately or not, with Japan and dropping the atomic bombs like during his, which I mean he was going to see through anyway because that started with the FDR era before he even took over. It's not like he came up with it and then he's just like drop those fuckers.
Well, it was also though the remorse of the fact that it was like we had the war won.
Yeah. Well,
but at the same time
they weren't going to surrender either.
That too. It was like that was the ultimate decision. It's like we really wanted to. We have won this war, but what are we going to do?
We want to be the first one to fucking see if this was actually like a thing that was.
But by doing that too,
it created
a
whole new world.
Like it was said in Oppenheimer, it was like if you drop this, warfare is never going to be the same.
No. Like if we drop two of them,
so. Yeah, that was the decision.
It's not,
and he made that decision.
It's crazy because, in a historical context, they were looking at it like, oh my god, like this is a weapon and stuff, and like you know, and even Einstein, like in his like later years, like said it brilliantly, even though, you know, as you said, like they chalked it up to, you know, oh, they'll give him some medals now and then, they'll recognize him, but they're not really looking for any breakthrough ideas from him because they've moved on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But just to give you your due and just send you out the door, they'll acknowledge you, they'll get, you know what I mean? But he still said it brilliant even in his older age, where he's like, you know, you're not, and if you recognize the quote as it is, like you understand exactly what he means. Is it's not a new weapon, it's a new world.
Yeah.
Like it changes everything about that. Because if you can drop those on somebody, you know what I mean? Like it's not just a this is like it changes everything about what people know and how much damage can happen in a catastrophic second. You know what I mean? Like that's what he meant. And it does. It's just like you think in probably while they were doing it, like this is a weapon, we're gonna do this, we're gonna defeat them, whatever. And it's like I think that was the revelation coming through the dropping of the atomic bombs was because you're looking at a new world. Now, guess what everybody else is gonna do now? First one through the wall.
To develop them.
They're going to develop them. And
well, dude, it's like we did not expect Russia to develop one so quick either. Well, the Soviet Union at the time, but it was like we did not expect. But it was because a spy on the inside of the operation that developed the atomic bomb gave the information to Russia.
yeah.
And that's why they were able to get one so quickly. And that's like looking back at history, like that time had to be scary as fuck. Like, can you imagine being in the government or being the president at the time, and it's like, oh no, they have the information and they're like almost finished making one too. You'd be like, you gotta find them motherfuckers. Fucking gave them that shit.
Harry S. Truman.
Harry Truman, yep, is your main.
All right.
So
Missouri's
first,
only president.
Yep, I had to throw him out there. That's kind of why I gave him the main spot. But he was in a great stretch of presidents. FDR, Harry Truman, Eisenhower, JFK. Good stretch, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, a lot of those guys were, for sure.
So first up, you got Truman or you got John Adams. Second president.
Second president, man.
Founding father.
That was one of the whenever you go back in history, like how it always, you know, inevitably the loser of the election or like however it goes, it's like they concede and then they, you know, so forth, like you give it up to the next person. And when he transitioned like into Jefferson, you know, his presidency, second to like third, like I remember specifically through history him like just that's what I mean about like yeah, he because you said what he was a little older and most of those guys were in their 20s, like the founding fathers. I mean Ben Franklin was older. You said Adams.
I mean Washington was older. He was like in his 40s or something by then, or 50s or so.
Well, I mean he was fighting in wars still. Was he that old?
I mean he wasn't like young,
but they also wore wigs.
Also,
they weren't fucking as old as they looked.
He fought like in wars for Britain as a young man.
Yeah.
Before. So like he was not a young guy. He only lived to be in his early 60s.
Was he really that old?
But like he didn't live into the 1800s. So
yeah, that's crazy.
So yeah, he was like in his 40s or 50s probably.
John Adams though, that's who we need to be looking at though. John Adams, like I remember just specifically in history, like learning about this, and was probably in 8th grade when I mean, not that I didn't know, I knew about John Adams, but like 8th grade, I remembered absorbing probably more than almost any other year in history that we learned, and just were reminded of, and just, you know, further like dense history as we can understand it. But like, I know John Adams was like a big, whenever he had to go out of office, like it was very much, I'm gonna pack my shit up in the middle of the night and just fucking leave. Like it was still a peaceful transition of power in that sense, but he just like scurried the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
Once Jefferson got elected.
The thing is, those two. Interesting fact about those two is that like they had a rivalry for a good long time, and then as they both got, I mean, Adams was already old, but like as Jefferson got older too, and Adams was an old guy, they kind of made up and they became sort of buds and they became pen pals, and they'd write back and forth, and they both died on the same exact fucking day, on the 4th of July, on the 50th anniversary of America.
Wow. Their fates were intertwined.
Which is insane, yeah.
Ooh, that is honestly, I'll give you credit. That's a tough one, like with the John Adams and Harry S. Because, like, I do, honestly, I have more reverence for both of them than, like, anything, like, negative, especially for being a founding father, because none of us would be here without any of those guys.
John Adams, his presidency-wise, though, the Alien and Sedition Act, that was kind of shitty, because it was, like, it was meant to locked up people that they considered foreigners, but like at that point in time, it was like the country wasn't established enough to really establish who the fuck you thought a foreigner was.
Yeah.
For one, and for two, it was just it was also like locking people up that were speaking out against the government. So it was like it was taking way too much power.
Yeah.
In the government's hands, and that was done under him. So that's kind of a big negative.
That's an interesting one, though, because he's not, like, one of my higher, like, of the founding fathers. Like, he's not one of the very top ones that I consider. You know, there's a lot of people involved, too, at that time. And even people that weren't presidents, like the treasurer, like Alexander Hamilton, and, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a Benjamin Franklin. Like, there are a lot of people that were involved that never even saw a term in office like that, you know what I mean? Like, they weren't, but they were involved in the situation in the freedom of America and the invention of things and, you know, all the shit that obviously Ben Franklin came up with. I don't know, that is, oof. Because, like, I don't know if Harry S. Truman would beat any other founding father to me, but I might take him slightly over John Adams.
Yeah. All right. I can see it.
Yeah, just
agree.
With what I was gonna say, because like Jefferson, Madison, Washington, it's like you're gonna take those guys, but like I don't know, man. That was an interesting one to go after.
All right, so Harry S. Truman for the win. Next up, we got Truman or we got H.W. Bush.
Oh boy. I mean, that was a time of prosperity following Reagan's term, obviously, and you know, and the main reason why H.W. suffered his loss in '92 was because Ross Perot ran. He took out a fucking 30-minute ad.
I mean,
as a billionaire on like a local like network that everybody could watch. Everybody watched it, and like he ended up getting like 12 or 20, like just some absurd number percent of the vote, and he took most of those away from the Republicans, so it favored Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton won the election, sir, from 92 through, 2001, the very, I guess, beginning of 2000, whenever Bush was elected and took over. But that's kind of what that did. But I think Bush was very much on the track of winning 2 terms and that was like the biggest moment in time when a third party ever truly, really affected the election.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it definitely played an impact on that election big time. But it was also, like, I think H.W. Bush was, like, fantastic at foreign affairs.
Yeah.
But the thing about it was, because he was so good at that, it kind of made his domestic affairs suffer a little bit. And it's not even that the country was doing bad, but they lagged economically following the Reagan years a little bit with H.W. Bush. So that was kind of like what the other people ran on around him, Clinton and Perot, was like,
yeah,
oh, we're gonna boost the economy? How about focusing on us, you know? But dude, he like handled the falling of the Berlin Wall and all that shit, and he did it great. He didn't make us like the focal point. He like made sure of that. He was like, it's not our thing. The falling of the Berlin Wall is Germany's thing, you know? Because they're like, oh, you need to go over there for, you know, for all these guys that have dealt with this, for JFK, for LBJ, for Reagan. And he's like, and do what? Stand on the wall with the Germans? He's like, this is their moment. Like, yeah, we stood beside them throughout this, and like we're happy for them, and you know, obviously in support. But like, that was the thing, is I felt like he was great at foreign affairs because he could really make friends and didn't feel like he was trying to like steal the thunder away from them, you know.
No, the Bushes really weren't like, they were more reserved. They weren't like, they didn't really handle things like that, I feel like. You know, regardless of like their decision making and stuff. But it's like, I don't think like any sort of narcissistic qualities existed within either of them at all. It's like sometimes it just kind of, you know, they were just...
It was just them,
like,
and not the Texans, and
but I don't think it was like that. I don't think it was deep on that level. Like, I don't think at any point they were. I think they were being genuine the whole time, but it's like they didn't, and they would even admit that too. And not that they were even the same, but it's like they both, I'm sure, would admit.
They're definitely like different kinds of presidents, but they were similar in certain.
Hey, Bush won his second fucking term too. You know.
Yeah.
Which, as long as he handled post 9/11 in a positive way, which he definitely did, for a while, like, he was probably going to get elected for a second term anyway.
I mean, initially,
definitely at first,
handled
because he had the biggest approval rating, the best approval rating at any point in the history of the country.
He brought people together.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
That was, but then it's like, the war effort just got out of hand, and I don't fully blame him for that. It's kind of his administration too, and the voices around him.
Yeah,
but
like Dick Cheney and all those motherfuckers.
Cheney was a warmonger, bro. He fucking wanted it.
Great. What was this last one?
H.W. Bush or Truman.
Oh.
Dude, H.W. Bush, too, fucking skydived on his birthday, like, every year up till he died. Like, into his fucking 80s.
Yeah, they lived... Oh, dude, a lot of presidents lived a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough, too.
He didn't get shot in office, which happened to a few of them. It's like, you either live to be an old man, or you die while you're in office. It's not funny, but...
No, I mean, it's...
Washington didn't. No, I mean, he died, like, kind of shortly after.
Dude, Harry Truman had quite a fucking life, though. Born May 8th, 1884. Lived to December 26th, 1972.
Yeah, dude.
That's a fucking long time.
That's a hell of an era. You live to see a fuckload of shit, dude. The advancement of so much and so many wars and stuff. Oh my god.
Yeah, oh yeah. He was born not even 20 years after the Civil War ended.
Yeah.
And he lived through most of the Vietnam War.
Dude, he lived through both the world wars.
Yeah, that's insane. That's crazy.
Being born in the 1800s and dying in the 70s is just wild, you know?
No, you don't think anybody did that.
But crazy. I mean, I'm sure there was a lot that did, because if you were born in the late 1800s, it's feasible, you know? Even living into the 80s, really, which is crazy, but...
I don't know, man. And see, that's a good one, too, because that's a little tough. I may give it to Truman slightly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was kind of leaning that too, because it's like,
Yeah.
it's very different, because different eras and everything, obviously, too. But that's kind of the whole thing, too, is, yeah, like, there's a lot that happened for H.W. Bush, foreign affairs.
He was on track to win that until the Ross Perot thing happened.
Like, yeah, foreign affairs wise, though, there's a lot that happened under him. But it was mainly positive.
Yeah.
Like, Truman dealt with a whole lot of shit during his presidency. And it wasn't all pretty, you know?
No.
I mean, it's not for any president, regardless. But, yeah, I just feel like he is kind of one that, like, as time went on, people looked back and they thought more highly of him.
Yeah.
Because he just had to deal with so much shit during his era and his time following, like, the war and just the fallout of everything and how shit played out. So Truman, edging out 2-0.
Yep.
Next up, we got
Tough
Harry
ones.
Truman, or we got Andrew Jackson.
Oh, man. Andrew Jackson. I know history has nothing but great things to say about him.
He's kind of had I mean, that's the thing, too, is he's another one that has a bit of a lopsided, you know, some people have a positive opinion, some people have a pretty negative, and it's like, there's a lot of things you can say about his presidency. It's like, yeah, that's not great, bro. And it, like, the things that people can say positive about him, like the Battle of New Orleans, and, like,
Yeah.
that was cool. Because he teamed up with literally, like, immigrants and pirates and just, like, scoundrels, basically. And fought off, like, I think it was France that was, like, trying to advance up. Because that was, like, the New Orleans territory that we were trying to take. You know, they were trying to take back. So but it's like a lot of his cool stuff from, like, his military time was, like, before his presidency. So if you're just judging his presidency, it's like, I mean, the Trail of Tears started under him. Like, he disbanded the National Bank. You know, like,
Yeah.
There's a lot of turmoil associated with him, because then the economy was just in fucking upheaval after him. Because of that. Because it's like, he did that because he was at war with them, but he didn't have a backup plan. He was just like, fuck them.
He was a controversial president, for sure.
Yeah. He was also a fucking nut.
Yeah.
Like, the dude literally got in, like, an insane amount of pistol duels in his life. Like, tens of them.
Must have won most of them.
Yeah, I mean, he did get shot in the chest.
Yeah.
But it went into bounced off a bone or something. It fucked him up, but it didn't kill him, obviously. But yeah, he, like, killed a fuckload of people.
Yeah.
In duels and shit. Just a crazy fucking dude that ended up winning the presidency. And that was the thing at that point in time, too, is a lot of the politicians, it was like he was that era's guy, that it was like, we can't let this motherfucker in here.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? This guy's a fucking madman. He's fucking shooting
Swinging
people
around his
and
pistol
shit.
and shit. I would probably say Harry S. Truman on that one.
Yeah.
Didn't know old Harry was going to do this good, though.
Missed
Damn,
the
he's starting
Missed
off.
the 20s, fucking.
Yeah. He's starting off pretty good, though.
Yeah. Well, let's see if he can keep it up, because next up we got Harry Truman, or we got JFK. Time got cut a little short. That's the thing, is that's the ultimate question with JFK, because he certainly would want a second term.
It was only about a little over 2.5 years.
It's like, would he have been looked back at as fondly in the lens of history
Mm-hmm.
had what happened not happened? And that's like, that is an interesting question because like Vietnam was the wheels had already been turned on that. That was going to happen. And it would have happened under his presidency. It would have been started. He probably would have passed the Civil Rights Act under his presidency because he was behind that and that was already getting pushed. So, like, a lot of the things that ended up falling onto LBJ would have happened to him, you know?
Yeah.
So it probably would have been a lot more of a different kind of outlook. Not that it even would have been all negative. He probably still would have had a lot of positive outlook, but also people would have, because his, like, the knowledge of his personal life and stuff, that was starting to kind of get shined upon a little more, and his image was getting a little tainted, but, you know, he became a martyr in ways. It's like, but also, man, JFK was, like I said, like, he was definitely a forward thinker, and he was, like, wanting to push the country forward for good in a lot of ways, and he was a hell of a speaker. That guy could cut a damn good speech. And he looked good. That's why, you know, we talked about off air, like,
I mean, that's why he beat Nixon
was
in the
starting to become a
1960
thing.
election.
Yeah, he was put together and he could talk.
Because a lot of people listened to the radio thought that Nixon won the debate, and a lot of people that watched it thought Kennedy did.
Yeah.
That's the difference between mediums right there.
That's what happens when you're, you know, what people consider chiseled, handsome young man versus a man that kind of looks like a pit bull. You know?
Yeah.
It's just the unfortunate shallowness
I don't know what
of
I would say he
humanity.
looks like, but I knew somebody that was like a family
He's
friend
got the
of my
jowls
family
of
that
a
looks
dog.
like him.
He's got the jowls of a dog. Nixon.
Oh. Yeah, I can maybe see that a little bit.
Tough one.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it is tough too because like Kennedy didn't serve that long, but
I mean, dude,
that's
the thing.
I
is
know.
He put so many things in motion, like I said with the civil rights stuff, and even the moon landing. Like, he was the one that was like, "We're gonna do this."
Yeah.
You know?
No, I know. I may lean in JFK's favor by a little bit too, but it is, you know what I mean. It is tough too because like he was like a guy that put a lot of things in motion, but it's like some of those things were followed through on eventually too. But
he had an extremely stressful presidency too, as well as Truman. But like,
well, he had some of his own personal stuff too.
Yeah, but because of the Cuban Missile Crisis happened under Kennedy, and he basically saved us with that, like with the deal that he was able to cut and get the missiles moved because they were aimed fucking right at us, you know. And the Bay of Pigs, that was a disaster, and that was under him too. So it was like, that's the give and take of that as well. So
yeah, I'd probably say with the finite amount of time, maybe I take him a little, maybe slightly over Harry.
But JFK for the win on that one.
Yeah, it's not easy, man. Like none of these kind of
no, it's not
debates.
Let's pause real quick. Actually,
Okay.
I gotta go pee. So it's 3-1 in favor of Harry Truman.
Alrighty.
Next up, we got Harry Truman, or we got one of the all-time fucking greats here.
Uh-oh.
Andrew Johnson.
Andrew Johnson?
Yep. Good old Andy Johnson, man. There's not a lot of great to say about him, honestly. I mean, it's cool that the guy kind of came from nothing, owned a tailor shop, rose through the ranks in the political career, but he also didn't stand for a lot of shit that holds up for good nowadays, and tried to kind of backtrack on everything that Lincoln was trying to kind of push forward after the Civil War and Lincoln's assassination. So there's a lot that it's like, and you'll look at the pictures of him and he's just looks like a grumpy old fuck and he's got a terrible haircut.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that I've been haunted by Andrew Johnson at this point. I talk so much shit on him. But
Well, for that one, I would definitely say Harry S. Truman. Anyway. I mean, I don't have a lot to add. I will say, too, connecting Abe Lincoln's assassination with John F. Kennedy's is that there's so many, like, similarities, too. Like, from their Vice's last name to, like, the dates they were shot, the dates, you know what I'm saying? Like, just certain correlations.
Weird
it's
correlations.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Between the two of those. I'm pretty sure, yeah. I almost kind of want to look that up, though, because I definitely remember hearing about that.
But,
it was, yeah. Lincoln was elected to Congress in 1846, Kennedy in 1946. Elected president in 1860, Kennedy 1960.
100 years.
His wife lost a child while living in the White House for both of them. Directly concerned with civil rights. Lincoln had a secretary named Kennedy. Kennedy had a secretary named Lincoln.
Wow.
Lincoln was shot in the back of the head in the presence of his wife. Same with Kennedy. Lincoln was shot in the Ford Theater. Kennedy was shot in a Ford Lincoln. They were both shot on a Friday.
Crazy as fuck.
Both their assassins had names comprised of, 3.
Yep. Would you say the South, the 3-name thing? John Wilkes Booth. He wanted fucking payback, dude. I'm pretty sure, like, he didn't have his slaves anymore, or he was part of it. Was just, like, a whole,
Booth shot Lincoln in a theater and fled to a warehouse. Oswald shot Kennedy in a warehouse and fled to a theater. They were both killed before being brought to trial.
Mm-hmm.
Both have theories, part of a greater conspiracy. And both their successors had the last name of Johnson.
Yep.
And Lincoln's was 1808 and Kennedy's was born in 1908.
Eerie. But yeah, on that one I'm saying old Harry. Old Harry Truman.
Harry Truman. For the win. So JFK holding out the singular victor here over Harry Truman. 4-1 in favor. Next up we got Harry Truman or we got James Madison. Again, I kind of said off air, like James Madison, considered the father of the Constitution. He had a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
A huge historical figure in American history. Ironically, because he's so small. Like 5'2", like 110 pounds or something.
I think he was 5'4", but he was short.
He's a tiny bitch.
Dude. Yeah. I think Adams was only like 5'5". Like, he was short and pissy, too. Yeah. I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Well, yeah, a lot of people didn't agree with him, so he's like, fuck you,
yeah. I would probably have to say James Madison for that one, though.
Yeah, I feel like Madison did a lot before his presidency. And like I said, his presidency had some turmoil. Like with the War of 1812 and the White House getting taken and having to flee and all that shit.
That's crazy that they would try to, we're coming back for you!
Like, he was the only president, that had to, like, flee from the fucking house because it was getting attacked and shit.
Yeah. Well, then they had to redo it and shit, too.
Yeah. John Adams moved in when it was, like, still getting made. He's like, fuck this, I'm fucking moving in. It was, like, still getting, like, renovated and shit.
That's crazy. That's why history's cool though, man, because like it's still been there in the same spot for all these fucking years, even though they've renovated it, done different things to it.
Oh yeah.
You know, all this other stuff. Still now, it's just like.
It just like the city's been built around it, and shit.
Yeah. It's just, but it's still the same land. Like literally, they were on when they did it. They just redone it. You know what I mean? Like that's crazy. Historical, man.
Yeah.
Because it just feels like those guys in their time feels like fucking ages ago. You know what I mean? And yet, it's cool that we're still living through the period where, like, oh man, like it's, you know, it's where they lived, like the White House, the fucking, you know what I mean? Got all the portraits up, got all the memories. Trump loves showing it off.
I mean, a lot of them do though.
Yeah.
The presidents now, because there's so much.
I mean,
history.
yeah, exactly. That's why I always say, I'm like, regardless, the office is like sacred, and like there's a lot of just insane history like that has happened throughout that place, and people from the past, presidents from the past, and their families. So it's crazy that it's all taking place there.
So you just said Madison for the win on that, though, huh?
Yeah.
All right, so that makes it 4-2. Next up, we got Harry Truman, or we got James K. Polk. And the thing that's interesting about Polk is he's not really talked about much.
Nope.
But like,
Polk.
He's one of the only presidents ever that even upon like running, he's like, I'm only gonna do one term. He was only seeking it. He's like 4 years, all I want to do. So like, he busted his ass while he was in there with like what he wanted to do because he didn't have a lot of time. Like, because he made that promise. So they said he put a desk like in the bedroom. So because he could just like wake up in the middle of the night if he woke up and he was just like, oh, got an Amber Alert. So he could just like wake up in the middle of the night and be like, well, I'm up, might as well do some work. You know, like, but also, I mean, he acquired a lot of territory too, but it was through kind of like shady means because he was like, he went to war with Mexico, but they were not really capable opponents. Like Grant, I think, was even in that war, and he even kind of talked out against it later on because he's just like, I mean, yeah, these guys were not.
What was Polk, like number 12 or something like that?
It was 11, and then
that's a very Polk
Taylor
number.
Followed.
11. Yeah.
But yeah, and that was in a weird era too, because like Polk and Taylor and like a few of these guys died. Well, Taylor died in office. Tyler died not too long after office. Polk died not too long after office. And it was like, there was apparently bad like drinking water in DC. And now they look back in history and they're like, did a lot of them die from that because they were drinking tainted water for like years?
Maybe.
You know?
That's crazy. But if the brother only wanted to serve one term,
he did acquire a lot of
what's it to
territory.
you? Yeah.
But it's through, like I said, through the purposes it was. He was also kind of, it was an interesting...
What was his years? He was 11.
Yeah, he was the 11th.
But no, what was his, like, his heirs, the term?
I want to say...
This is why we need a third guy. No. Look it up!
1845 to 1849, March.
Okay. Yeah, there was still a lot of, like, expansion going on and establishment of, like, you know, the country and shit.
He's one of the only guys, too, like, he was married, him and his wife, you know, married a long time, but, like, especially for that era, they were just like, yeah, we don't want kids. They just didn't have them. It was like one of the only presidents that just didn't have them. Yeah.
No, I know, most of them did. But no, we were talking about off air, like with the Jefferson thing. Like he was the Louisiana Purchase like era president then. Yeah, and so all that. Yeah, I was gonna say, damn, Jefferson definitely had a really eventful presidency too. Not to get deterred, but
He also established West Point in a standing military force.
oh yeah, he's definitely one of the most like intriguing, I feel like, individuals that have been elected. What was this one? This is Polk and Harry S. Truman. Yeah, we're gonna go with Truman again.
Truman for the win
Gonna
on that
slap him right in the Polk ass.
No respect for Polk, man.
No, I'm.
No, I'm kidding.
I mean, I don't think like the worst of him, but he's like one of the ones that I'm. It's not like he's gonna be deep seated in my memory for like doing tremendous things, I guess either. But it's kind of an interesting era because the way things were about to be headed to with the Civil War and stuff. A little over a decade later.
Yeah. All right, so Truman for the win there over Polk.
Yep.
So that's 5-2 in favor of Truman. Next
Worst
up,
case, he breaks even. Look at that. Crazy.
We got Harry S. Truman, or gotta mention him because I wore this crazy ass shirt tonight. We got Harry Truman, and we got Bill Clinton. What I will say before we get into this, because obviously, if you want to talk about his personal life and things like that, then you can take some hits for sure. But like presidency-wise, man, shit was pretty fire. Like unemployment slashed, federal budget balanced,
93.
Economy fucking boosted, home ownership highest it's been in American history. Like there was a lot of positive within the country.
Yeah.
During his entire presidency.
Basically from Reagan
good
through
tax cuts to like the middle class and the less wealthy. Like that's the thing for the American people. He was a great president during his presidency.
Through like, and not even really to discredit George W. Bush either, because it wasn't like as soon as his started it was like bad, but 9/11 did happen.
I mean,
shit
got rough.
9/11 did happen
for sure.
within 9 months of it, but like things definitely shifted. But if you trace it back all the way, honestly, from Reagan through H.W. Bush through Clinton, shit was rolling and booming here. Like
Clinton too did
that was
a lot
whenever
for healthcare.
That was whenever like
established universal healthcare, and
that was whenever so many like small businesses sprung up. People made themselves billionaires through. Like Blockbuster, like that was that whole era. And it's like the economy was so prosperous through the 1980s and 90s that it was just like it was hard to miss. Like you fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like people, I'm not saying like nobody was like struggling anywhere. Like there's always a degree of people that it's a little harder for, of course. But like it's for the most part, the whole economy was just booming through that whole 80s and 90s,
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying. Like, I kind of listed off a lot of his accomplishments within office. Like, you look at that now, like the highest home ownership in American history. Like, you think about that now, like at the stage we are even in life, like 30s and, going into our 30s and stuff now. It's like, man, 30 years ago, if we were this age, we might be fucking purchasing homes. Like, who knows?
Yeah.
With how things were then compared to just the way the world has shifted and the way things have happened. Obviously, like you said, 9/11 happened, and that really shifted the country in a lot of ways too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like, it's undoubtable. Like, his presidency is just almost defined as like an era, just because the 90s were their own era in a lot of ways. Like the same with Reagan. Like Bush, H.W. Bush was kind of like the middle ground between the two of them, but like they almost feel like they defined prosperous eras for America,
No, they definitely did. And like it made a lot of people opening the businesses they opened in those decades too, like some of the really prosperous times. It made so many regular your next door like fucking neighbor and shit. Like it made so many people wealthy in those eras because it was such a booming period that it was just hard to like see that was going to slow down, I'm sure, anytime. Like it's like that is where a lot of people really got rich. But it wasn't until like probably maybe even the 2000s where like, especially in the food industry, where like in the country and stuff, people started taking shortcuts, and like then we got really unhealthy, and then we had to bounce back, and and now you still wonder if that's even like a bounce back. It's a weird just shift going on with the population anyway. Yeah. But that's beside the point. But it's like there is so many things that went extraordinarily well through like all those presidencies, like Reagan, Bush, and then Clinton. And like most of their relatives like that I have, regardless if they affiliate with one party or another, like they'll put over how well those eras went for them financially. You know what I mean? And I don't know, and that's tough too, because honestly, the 50s and like, well, I guess even Truman's term like after that was, it was picking up from Franklin D. Roosevelt, so like a lot of that was in the 40s. Yeah. But like that whole period was prosperous, and then in the 60s, like in the like late 50s and 60s, when we started dealing with the civil rights stuff, like there was also a huge cultural shift. It didn't mean economically things got worse, I guess, because they just kind of kept booming through the baby boomer era anyway, and the economy is prospering.
Yeah, they like dipped in the 70s for a while.
Yeah, there was kind of like some, especially during like the early 70s. Yeah. And the Vietnam and all that stuff. It was kind of a low point. Between like 69 and 73, I don't think things were like necessarily fantastic. Probably even a few years beyond that. But the late 70s into 80s, like, that was kind of a brutal period, I guess, too, with Jimmy Carter's administration in office, like, at least.
Nixon, Ford, Carter.
Yeah.
In the 70s.
Ouch. Yeah. But things definitely, like, there was a degree of, because progression was still happening, it was headed towards a certain direction. I just felt like the 70s, they probably, if I had to put myself in those footsteps, everything we've watched, everything we've consumed, everything we've read about in history, I would expect it would have been a pretty, like, and maybe you didn't see it because they're, worth, like, on the cusp of being both 30 here now. It's like, maybe you don't see it in hindsight as well as we see it now, but it's like, then with this brain, if I try to imagine where they were now, I'm sure they felt a lot of, like, just being very unsure about what the future kind of looked like, even though things were still, like, a lot of progress had been made, but things were just kind of, it was really like, it took a minute to get into what it actually was going to become, and then by the 1980s and so forth, like, things were just starting to fucking boom. Yeah. But I also think, especially in the 70s, after a lot of the tragedy had happened, like the Manson family murder thing, the John F. Kennedy assassination, the assassinations of Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, and all that, all of that, shit. It was some dark shit, and it had happened already. But it's like, that's why the 1970s bridged the gap between, like, American cultural influence and, like, the booming period of, like, the party 1980s and so forth. It's kind of like, it feels weird at times because it was such a transitional period, you know what I mean? As things moved along and progressed culturally in the country.
It's like JFK, like Malcolm X, Bobby Kennedy, and MLK all got assassinated within like a handful of years. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. Is that like shift in time?
Yeah, for the whole
kind of like martyrs for the cause.
For the rest of the 40s and like most of the 50s, everybody's like, after the war, oh, we won! Isn't this great? We won! Yeah. And then and then like, society
like the greasers kicked them and shit, and
then society like kicked him right in the ass, and they're like, all right,
skirts and milkshakes,
but we've got to deal with this shit that for some reason after 1865 wasn't dealt with. Now we've got to deal with it in fucking 1960.
So
it's like, all right,
it wasn't until like Eisenhower that he integrated the military.
Yeah.
And like black and white forces fought together.
I didn't remember whose administration I was under per se, but
like all of World War II we fought separately.
Yeah.
Isn't that fucking nuts?
Yeah. No, it definitely is.
And he was one of the big generals in that war, so he probably was like, this is lunacy,
And Franklin D could have done something during that time about it, too.
Well, I mean, he had some shady shit, too. Like, he was a great president, but it's like he didn't do everything right. Like, Japanese internment camps and shit, like,
yeah.
There was fucked up stuff that happened during his presidency, too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, those other countries had internment camps for...
Yeah, that's what I mean. It doesn't make our shit right.
Britain, no, I know. I'm just saying, like, but for the USA and, like, Great Britain, too. But it's, like, it's very easy to say that always throughout history,
it's like,
learn.
Yeah, we, shine a very, very bad light, rightfully so, on the Germans and the Jewish, concentration camps and stuff. But it's like, well, we were also locking up Japanese citizens that were American citizens during World War II just because they were Japanese.
Yeah.
So like that's
no, I know. I mean, there's no
sides of the
defense
coin
for
of
that either.
history.
It's just
it's like it doesn't make either of them right, obviously, but it's like it's almost the like to the victor go the spoils things, It's like what they talked about in Nuremberg.
Yeah. Crazy. We just watched all that too, like leading into like all the history movies that we've watched recently. Damn.
So Harry Truman or Bill Clinton?
Oh man.
I did say he also tried to do universal health care during his administration, but it obviously didn't end up happening until Obama ended up passing it with his own kind of thing. But like there was attempts made. But also the thing is because so much was booming domestically during his administration, because that's what he focused on, because HW's thing was he was kind of like, oh, well, he focused too much on not us.
Yeah.
So people kind of pushed back that Clinton focused too much on us and he was like, which can be said too, like he wasn't like,
well, he was the first president he was the first president to turn, and I'm just pointing out the facts. I'm not trying to even say, because I might actually take Bill Clinton over Harry S. Truman. I don't know. I'm still kind of, but it's like it's also somewhat recency bias too, because you sort of remember, even in hindsight and close relativity, that the 90s were such a prosperous period, and that feels way more resonant and familiar than the 1950s do, or 40s. However, he also was the only, and the first president to like turn its own military and police force against its own citizens, with like the Waco stuff in Texas and all that, nobody had ever really done that before, like on, against its own American citizens.
I mean, Abe Lincoln kind of did that too. But that was the
they
jailed
separated,
speaking out against the Union.
Yeah, they separated from the country though. So technically, like, even though they were part of the country, they also separated it, and then they fucking, stuck knives into each other's hearts, for Christ's sake. So it's like, you guys were definitely trying to be your own thing for a while and wanted to separate from us. So what do you think is going to happen in a war? You know what I mean? But like, that was during a mostly a peaceful period of time, and I mean that was also with before the Timothy McVeigh Oklahoma City bombing in was it 1995? Because like Waco happened like 2 years before that, and what's his name, David Koresh, I guess. That's who it was, because he's like, oh, everybody needs to stay inside. He was kind of like one of those cult leaders that became, they were armed to the fucking teeth in there, and that was just like a 20, 30, 40, however many day holdout of just, there was a couple of times where they're all just fire bullets and shit at each other, and then they would stop. But he like kind of brainwashed a lot of the people, kind of. So this is very interesting, honestly, because there's so much historical context to us, and not just the presidencies, but like the eras and what was going on during them. even outside the person's individual presidency. But the beauty of that is you can sort of be like, oh, he served during this point, this point. Well, what happened during that time, you know?
Yeah.
But David, I mean, he had kind of like brainwashed a lot of people into like some stuff down there too, and you know, it was kind of like it wasn't the exact same thing, but it was like reminiscent in ways of the Jim Jones sort of stuff, and like what
they were just kind of like a religious fanatical.
Yeah, but they were like more like far right kind of leaning and being like, oh, we're gonna fucking, you know, make sure we. But it's like it's still at the end of the day, I don't. It was a failure, the whole Waco thing on both sides, because he wasn't going to save the people once so many innocent people died because of him, the David Koresh guy. But also, like, turning the government against its own people was also felt fundamentally and morally fucked up as a country. So it's like, it was like a really dicey situation.
But it's tough because it's like, at that point, what do you do when they're hold off firing at federal
I don't know if you
shit. Like, you kind of
but I don't know if as a federal government with way more power, I don't know if the right thing also is to fire all your bullets into the building.
I get that too, but
it's like there's like grandmas and kids there and women, and it's just like it's fucking. And this is it was a dicey. Me and my grandpa have talked about this too, but it was like a really, and that was before, and obviously Timothy McVeigh was definitely in the wrong for bombing Oklahoma City anyway. I mean, there was hundreds of people dead in that, and I think it was like April 1995 before either of us are born, of course. But he always felt the injustice that was done during Waco 2 years, I guess it was 2 years prior. I mean, I could be butchering these dates, but he always felt like that, and this was all during Clinton's administration too, at the federal level. He always felt like Waco was such an injustice that he's just like, I've got to fucking, like, and he served in the military and, you know, whatnot too, but he's like, I've got to, like, get him back somehow. You know what I mean? Like, I've got to kind of do something. And so, like, that's where he came up with a plan with a few of his other buddies who all kind of tried to separate themselves from him once he was just like, no, I'm going fucking through with this. And then he wasn't sorry. He never said that he was regretful of it. Nothing. He was just, like, coldly, like, oh, you know, I don't...
Yeah.
It's just, and he bombed Oklahoma City in, like, it was, like, April 95. And, like, there was at least 400 people dead right there. I mean, there's footage of that shit still. It's fucking crazy. But it was really cold whenever he admitted that, too. But some of that was because of what he felt was done at Waco, like, a few years before was such an injustice and beyond fucked up. And, like, and there's a perspective on that, too. But I don't obviously think what he did, like, it's just, like, how is doing this to, like, 400 plus, like, innocent people the fucking right move either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, if he convinced himself after, like, what happened there was an injustice and it was, you know, fucked up, which in a degree it was too. And it mainly makes you feel bad for the people that David Koresh was, like, manipulating and kind of keeping there. Oh, no, you need to believe in me and my ideals and what I'm talking about here. Like, we need to hold out here.
Though.
Yeah, and so many people died because of it. You know, whenever they turned the government against its own people. Not to go on about that too long, but it's kind of interesting because all that did happen during the Clinton administration too. I'm not saying it was Clinton's fault. It's just like, I mean, ordering the government against his people is, but it's like,
yeah,
you know, it happened under him. So
that's what I was like. Yeah, it's like it falls to the president. It's like the things that, you know, the injustices or the things that, like, the misfirings of the war on terror during the Bush administration. It might not have all been him. It was probably a lot of people in his ear, but it's like it was his administration, so it's gonna fall on him. The same with Truman, like the atom bombs, like they were dropped under his administration. Mm-hmm. He was having a lot of people in his ear telling him different information.
Yep.
But it's gonna fall on him.
But he also is smart enough to know that, like, there's no way you can, like, not pull the trigger now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The kind of pressure he was under and, like, everything that had been set forth before he was even in office and had to take over.
Yeah, I just mean, like, that's the power of the president.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
if
no,
something happens under your presidency that's a major event, like, there's a lot that goes into it and a lot of people telling you different information, but you're going to be the one remembered for it, you know?
This could be time relativity bias, but I think I might lean in favor of at least Bill Clinton's presidency by a little bit.
All right.
But it could be because it's more familiar to us. I don't know. But I do think that both periods were absolutely booming periods, you know? We just lived through one and didn't the other.
Yeah.
And most of those memories, we were too young to even acknowledge it like the cognitive level we could now.
But I mean, it's also more recent, just in general. Like, not that Truman's was that far away, because it's still recent enough to be, like, feel relevant-ish, you know what I mean? It's like there's footage of him and shit, you know?
But yeah, the Waco and Oklahoma City bombing, speaking of Netflix historical docs, you should watch both of those. They are really fucking good. Really good. And you're like, damn.
Yeah, I was like just reading something earlier about like the Unabomber, and I was like, huh, like I kind of forgot about this guy, you know, Ted Kaczynski. Like, that was a smart son of a bitch, dude. He's just out there in the shed making bombs.
Yep. You should though. Those are really. It's dude. It's honestly eerie, but you're like, damn, because like Timothy McVeigh is like just cold as fuck about like. He's like, no,
I've been watching like
I don't
weird
regret it at all.
Cult docs kind of recently, anyways.
It's like
Mormon, like this Mormon cult.
Yeah,
doc I watched recently. There's like this guy that just got all these people to fucking follow him. Yeah, cults, man, they're kind of crazy because it's like, man, just this large of a group of people got manipulated into this shit.
That's like, sort of what Joseph Smith even was, even though he wanted to preach like the Mormon faith and stuff. It's
hey,
like,
man, don't be getting into it. This is tearing down fucking religions. I don't want to do
it. No, like, but there's, you know, he had his faults too.
Oh, he definitely did. The man was not, you know, he didn't have a squeaky clean record. We'll just say that.
No.
But it's 5-3 in favor of Truman. Still at this point.
No, this has been fun though, because we kept it too very like to historical. But it's like all these things are covered, and whenever you want to talk about the presidents, is like we said, there's just so much even that happened under them. Where you're like, oh man, what happened from this set of years to this set, you know?
Yeah.
But damn. All right, what do we got left?
Next up, it's Harry S. Truman or Richard Nixon.
The purest president there's ever been.
I mean, yeah.
It's not even close.
Here's the thing. Yeah, there was obviously embroiled in scandals. Like I said, there's a lot you can say about, even with Vietnam. I think his handling of Vietnam was completely inept. It was like, by the time he even got in there, that war was unwinnable. And he still tried to buy the American public into believing this war was winnable and like sending more troops and more troops over. And it's like, we're just sending people to die at this point. Like, nothing's happening. But he also pushed forward relations with the Soviet Union quite a bit. That's probably the biggest positive I can say. Is like, that's undeniable. That he at least simmered things for like a decade.
Oh yeah. No, it was, I mean, the inevitability of it is his presidency is going to be remembered for like the Watergate scandal at the end anyway, which is what most people think of and point to as soon as like you even the name Richard Nixon rolls off your tongue. Which
was dumb anyways, because he was like spying on the Democratic building.
And they all did it. And we all know they did. But him and his administration was the ones dumb enough to leave the fucking evidence.
Maintenance workers to wiretap this building. Like,
piece of fucking
but
duct tape.
It's so dumb.
So goofy.
Because it's like, all evidence points to the fact that he would have won that election anyways. So it's like, you got brought down by like trying to spy. Oh, what the fuck are they doing?
Usually,
And it's like you probably would have won this shit regardless.
usually in the middle of a war, the American people, if you look through history, as far as presidents go, in the middle of a war, they don't usually want to change who's in charge. Like, they want to keep it the same because it's already a plan.
You know,
that's
that
being
at
followed
that
through
point,
on.
it should have fucking
You know what I
long
mean?
since been the end of the war.
There's
Protest,
an argument
march,
for that.
and everything.
But, like, that could have been handled fucking well before he was in there, too.
Yeah, but
well
then he
before.
got in and intensified it.
Yeah. But they could have done something
But it was
about
already
but they fucking
unwinnable.
didn't.
What do you mean? He was the one in charge.
They could have fucking, they could have de-intensified it before he got in. I don't know. I mean, things were inevitably going to like change in the country and stuff anyway, and then that happened, and I don't know. It was such a goofy move though too, because he did it like that, and it was just like, dude, it's like even worse. You're not even a good crook. Like you, like you just left it out in the open. But like that being said, and this isn't. I'm not like Richard. I'm not saying like I'm an advocate for like some of the stuff he did. I'm just saying like they also both parties did it for a long time before and after Richard Nixon, by the way, and would spy on the others and what the fuck like was going on. It's just like he was the one that got caught. He was the one that got buried with it. You know what I mean? And it is what it is. But he wasn't the first one to do it, and he certainly wasn't the last one either.
Well, it's also, again, it's who you surround yourself with. A lot of the guys that got themselves in trouble in the administration, like Grant and Harding and Nixon, and it's like, it's the people within their cabinet that are surrounded around them that are like, hey, well, let's fucking do this on the side. And it ends up fucking them.
Yeah.
Big time.
Oh, yeah, it's a good idea. All right, what do you got left?
So who'd you pick for that one, Nixon or Truman?
Oh, Truman.
Truman for the win. So 6-3.
Pretty good deal you got there.
Last but not least, we got Harry S. Truman or we got Dwight D. Eisenhower.
I mean, that's pretty comparable.
Yeah, I hold Dwight D. in pretty high regard. I mean, dude, like, the guy was a hell of a military leader in the war, World War II, obviously.
I just need to make sure I fucking...
He did not like nuclear weapons, so he, like, really tried to simmer the tensions over nuclear shit. He did the Brown versus the Board of Education, so he, like, moved civil rights forward in that aspect by kind of, like, integrating schools, started NASA, and did the interstate highway system.
Yeah, he had a solid fucking...
But he also, like, the development of the CIA, which is technically under Truman, but, like, the beginning, I mean, even still to this day, but, like, they were doing some shady shit. Mm-hmm. They were, like, overthrowing governments in foreign countries and, like, implementing their own guys, and that's what I was kind of talking about off air, was, like, we were putting some people in charge that just oppressed their people again, like, but it was because that was the push at that time. Like, we were trying to get more control in the world than the Soviets had, and they were trying to do the same to us. So we were just trying to implement our power to as much as the world as we could.
Yeah.
Before they could, because it was the whole fear of world domination, Yeah.
I think for this one...
He did a lot, though. He did a lot of positive.
I think for this one, slightly I'm going to go with Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Yeah.
Slightly. But yeah, I do remember that. And that was like an interest... It was, of course, as things were about to transition really to, especially towards like the end of the 50s and the changing with the culture, right? Like
Economy boomed under him too, the 50s.
They boomed, and there was just a cultural shift that was going on into the 60s, especially because the 60s were definitely... I'm sure like after the rest of the 40s and the 50s, the 60s and 70s were like, all right, let's focus more on stuff here again, and that's why there was so much I think there was so much tension in the 60s, and then there was definitely a degree of weirdness in the 70s, because I think everyone was just kind of like intermingling with each other, and it was like
it was a lot of
shift.
Yeah.
And there still was, to a degree, for probably a couple of decades too.
Period for sure.
But the 70s were like weird because they were in between when that shit had happened in the 60s and before the booming, prosperous period of the 80s.
And whenever,
so it was like
the ending of the Cold War and the falling of the Berlin Wall, that was like all the 80s. So it was like the 70s, that's what I mean. It was after Nixon kind of had that treaty with the Soviets, with détente, and we agreed to kind of lay down arms and not threaten each other for a while. Like the 70s were kind of that era, you know.
So what does that make it? 6-4?
6-4 in favor of Truman. Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, I've got your list here. Are you ready for it?
Yep.
Alright, well, as your main, I have picked the guy I did a second grade report on. I think I drew him by happenstance, so I told you about this before. George H.W. Bush as your main measuring stick. And of all people, of course, this is literally what me and you have done before somehow. Just being intermingling, like, without even talking about it somehow. First on the board is George H.W. Bush. Or Harry S. Truman. How does this happen this much?
George H.W. Bush was on my list, too.
Yeah. Crazy. Just wait until you hear my list, because I'm not changing anything about it. You're going to be like, holy fuck.
It's interesting, because, like, when it comes to modern, like, kind of a lot of modern Republican and stuff, like I hold H.W. actually in pretty high regard. Like I feel like he was a well-spoken guy, but he was a decently quiet guy. But like he was great at foreign affairs. You know, the economy was steady and stuff. Like he didn't necessarily do anything domestically to like boom a whole lot, but like that's the thing. If you could combine George H.W. Bush's ability with like foreign leaders with almost like any other president, it would be great. Because he was just like so good at doing that. And he was a badass in life, man. Like fighter pilot that got shot down in the war.
Yeah.
And like he was one of the only of his crew that lived in that situation, because a lot of them got like taken prisoner, got killed and shot and killed like on the spot, and he like escaped and like still parachuted on his birthday into his 80s and shit, like just pretty cool stuff. We obviously talked a lot about Truman throughout your whole list. Like I think pretty highly of him too. Like
Franklin D to Truman to Eisenhower, that was like a really fucking solid.
To JFK.
You know, yeah, that's true. No, that was a really solid chain of people. I mean, obviously, like people are like, well, I don't know. It's like, okay, but like you're gonna have those complaints during every presidency.
Yeah.
So it's like you gotta look at, you know, a lot of their cultural influence, like what did they progress within the country? Did they make you feel safe? Were they a good leader? Were they, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many factors that have to do with it.
Yeah.
And, you know, and a lot of those guys we named were, and like a lot of the people on the list were, you know, I mean, it's going to take, for the most part, like a personality that's too, you can't be, you got to have a certain projection or have a certain self-confidence, like to be in that position in the first place. Yeah, throughout time, as times have changed, there's been some characters that have been a little like weird and flaky that have assumed presidency. But for the most part, it's for the person that is a good representation of like, you know, I can project, I can give a speech, I can instill safety and like confidence, reassurance in the American people. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of person it is. And that's looked different throughout many eras, but like many people that have assumed presidency have replicated those ideals and like been a degree of some leader on some level. I would say, if you're going to be in the Oval Office, you know?
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, so George H.W. or Harriet Truman?
Probably going to lean a little in favor of Mr. Truman on that
All right.
one, I believe.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Mr. Truman. All right, next up we've got George H.W. Bush. Or, same thing. This is what's weird. Me and you didn't talk about any of this. We didn't look at each other's lists. But it's going to be George H.W. or John Adams.
Yeah, John Adams, obviously you can, like, he's an American historical figure because he's the founding father and he was the early development of America. You can't ever take that away from him. And, like, I feel like he's kind of had a bit of a resurgence in recent history, too. But, like, a revisionist kind of, like, look at his legacy. But, I don't know, man. The Alien and Sedition Act, it's tough. That's one of the tougher... Because there's never really been, besides that, a law that, like, jailed people for speaking out against the government, basically. And that was under him, you know? And I mean, it was early America, so we were still figuring stuff out, but like, still, I'm like, yeah, that's a lot of minus points in my book.
Yeah, well, the speaking thing is one thing, but you said they were like capturing people, weren't they, and shit?
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
like
the speaking, I can kind of understand at the beginning if you're like, we just freed ourselves from Britain, being like, like you're having pride in this country, even though it was like incredibly much smaller too. But it's like, as far as the other parts of it, I mean, I see what you mean. But I also knew
locking what they considered like foreigners away, but at the time it was like the country was so fresh and so new, and it was all immigrants, and people were coming in all the time that it's like, who the fuck's a foreign? It's like that law got taken advantage of because it was just who people fucking wanted to get rid of.
He's, like I said, and I think you and me are on the same page with this too, but like as far as like the founding fathers, I'm like, he's not like one of my very top ones anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not like...
I don't hate him or anything like that.
Fuck him. But at the same time, I don't hold him in super high regard.
It was such a shitty place though for anybody to be after Washington, because I mean
he got
you
a
said the
placement though. Like I said,
he
he's
did
between Washington and Jefferson.
He did.
Like, that's tough.
And the thing is, following Washington, like what do you do? Like you've gotta. But the thing is, I've thought about this before too, is that if you worked with them and you signed the Declaration, you fucking signed the Constitution, like they ratified it, there's a certain level of like, these guys got good grace just from being the founding fathers of the country in the first place. The first, 2, 3, 4, 5, of all the guys. It's like, you also kind of were a shoo-in to be a leader down the road anyway, because you were a part of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, there's two sides of it. It's going to be awfully incredible after Washington did everything he did. I mean, he literally was the founding father of the country in many ways. And so if you're going to say that, like, it kind of gives them a shoe-in to, like, be next in line after that. But also, you got to hold up to that. And I definitely think Adams felt the pressure of, like, of that office, and he didn't quite know how to handle it too, and like some of the decisions that he made.
Well, he also had a very it was hard for he got some stuff done, and like obviously the Alien and Sedition Act is one of those things, and that wasn't a positive, but like
no,
he had a lot of pushback because he had sort of different ideas and ideals at his time than a lot of the party around him too.
Yeah.
So that made things a little different. Some of those were good, like he was an abolitionist and stuff like that, but yeah, I'm still gonna lean in favor of H.W. Bush, I think, a little bit on that one.
1-1. Next up, we've got George H.W. Bush or Benjamin Harrison?
Yeah, he's like forgotten about president for sure. He's the grandson of William Henry,
Yeah.
so he's
Crazy. There was
Typical
some
idiot.
nepotism going on in fucking early America, man.
yeah.
John Quincy Adams, John Adams. The Roosevelts, man, they were connected too.
Yeah. Yeah, there was. Yeah, that's what's funny is they were related, but it wasn't like super direct. You know.
Yeah. It was like a cousin thing, wasn't it? Or like a
Yeah, it was like a second cousin something,
yeah.
which is kind of funny.
And then the Harrisons. Look at that. Look at and the Bushes. Damn.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually been quite a
there
bit.
really is a few. And I mean, the Kennedys are all within politics, but like,
Yeah.
it's crazy that there hasn't been another one that was president because like Bobby was probably gonna
Yeah.
be.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just like never has been the situation since then.
Anyway, yeah. So Benjamin Harrison, I guess that's third on your list. You're 1-1 so far. George H.W.
Yeah, he's like one of the most forgotten about presidents, I feel like.
You think?
Benjamin
I remember him
Harrison.
more than fucking some of the people. Like, honestly, like, I would think of him before I would think of, Chester A. Arthur and
I
fucking...
don't know, dude. I think of Chester A. Arthur
And,
probably
like-
a little bit.
And, like, Rutherford B. Hayes and fucking
But that's probably
people
because
like that. You know what I mean?
I watched like that Death by Lightning, and I liked Chester A. Arthur.
I'm not saying I don't like him. I'm just saying, like, I don't... But
No,
I'm
I
not saying...
get you.
But yeah, Benjamin Harrison, like, I guess
He's
got
just like a one-term president in like an era of our history where not a whole lot happened.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. I think they said he was like, more of one of the middle-ish terms that he served.
The thing I think about with him, like he was in office, I think, when the Wounded Knee Massacre occurred, and that was pretty rough. That was just like our military went in and like slaughtered a nation of Sioux, like Native Americans, just took them all out because it was like, oh, well, we had a dispute over this patch of land or whatever. And that was like, that's what I kind of think of under that, and that he was the president when electricity came into the White House.
Grandson of the 9th founding father, and grandson of Benjamin Harrison, 5, a founding father. A Union Army veteran and a Republican, he defeated Grover Cleveland to win the presidency in 1888. Was that between Grover Cleveland's terms,
Yeah.
or was that... Okay.
He was the president.
So he was the
between his
one.
Terms.
Okay. And he was a lame duck, just single term between that shit.
Mm-hmm.
In office, once again, March 4th, 1889 to March 4th, 1893.
Yeah. Yeah, he was, like I said, he was the president
Not
in
a
the
lot
White
going
House
on.
when electricity came to the White House.
Mm.
And he was so scared of it that he would have the workers in the White House turn on the lights because he thought if he touched the switches, he would get electrocuted.
Jesus.
That's kind of a funny little I heard that and I'm like, dude, I could see that though. Like if you didn't know any better and electricity was brand new, you'd be like, I'm not touching that shit.
Yeah. This is crazy though because like he fucking... So he was born August 20th, 1833, and he died March 13th, 1901. So he lived for 67 years. He was a Whig before 1856, and then he's been a Republican 1856 to 1901.
Yeah, because the Whig Party disbanded.
But like, no, but like to 1901. So I'm like, he lived also through such an era of like different shit. Like we said earlier off air, it's like between 1970 and like not too long after Lincoln, before like the 1900s started, not a whole hell of a lot happened like rapidly until like I feel like the 1900s and like closer to cars and World War I and so forth. I do feel like to this day, I'm like that's why I say I'm like to this day, if Lincoln had served his second term, I think that just would have changed the trajectory for like what the rest of the 1800s would have looked like. You know what I mean? Before, and it's like we don't know for sure what would have happened, but we know that what he had in place was, you know what I mean. And he won his re-election, and then he got fucking killed for it. So, well, and for and for banning slavery and for everything else, and but Lincoln did win his second election, and he didn't get to serve much of the term.
No.
But it's like after that happened, I feel like it absolutely, talk about a time shift and like a timeline change. That shifted the timeline comparatively where we were then. And he was beat down as fuck after his first term from like the stress he was put under from slavery. And like freeing him saying like passing the 13th Amendment. Oh yeah, dude, he looked incredibly.
He was hardly eating and shit.
Oh yeah, and he had problems in his marriage. They lost a kid. They, you know what I'm saying, like they had multiple things happen. Like Lincoln dealt with a lot of shit that I don't think people even realize too in such a short time. And I mean, to this day, it's like I think rightfully so. Like we've talked about it before, but it's like most people revere him in Washington as like probably the two best ever. And I think that's rightfully so.
Yeah.
It's like is what I said in one of the episodes is like we wouldn't have, maybe I think with Weber actually last year, is like we wouldn't have been a country without George Washington. We wouldn't have survived as a country without Abraham Lincoln. So it's like they changed the course of history, if not as much or more than anybody else did. But it is kind of curious sometimes. I think about that. I'm like, just because of what that laid the groundwork for in the future, like Reconstruction would have looked so much different under Lincoln rather than the fucking pitfalls that they went through on the way to get there.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, yeah, we are on Benjamin Harrison and George H.W.
Yeah, I'd take H.W.
All right. Damn, that hurts. No. I mean, what I know, I'm like, I would take H.W. too, also. But it's like even, and that,
like
that
I said, like some of the things that I know of Benjamin Harrison is not positive.
About 100 years apart too. 89, 93.
Yeah.
Look at that. Next up, George H.W. Man, he's 2-1. He's not looking too bad, but we've got him up against Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Dwight D. Eisenhower on that one. Like I said, I kind of talked about him already, but Brown versus Board Education, kind of integrated schools, pushed civil rights forward, integrated the military, which was another pushing civil rights forward, started the interstate highway system, developed NASA. Like, the economy was booming throughout the 50s. Strong military leader in World War II. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like he's a president that, yeah, he is pretty revered for people that, like, kind of know presidential history and there's stuff named after him and whatnot, but, like, he did a lot of shit, man. Mm-hmm. He really did during his era, too. And he's a pretty cool president, looking back on him. Like, he also, like, yeah, he did do a lot of stuff, but, like, the image of, he definitely intensified because, like, Taft and, like, some presidents before, like, Woodrow Wilson, like, some presidents before him also golfed, but, like, he intensified that image of, like, the president golfing, because there's just, like, so many pictures of him, like, out on a golf course just ripping cigarettes. Just hitting a golf ball. But, yeah, he seemed like, especially for his era and time, for being an older guy, too, by the time he was in there. And he had no prior political experience. He was a military guy who became president. And he seemed pretty forward-thinking, especially for being a Republican. Like, he had no party affiliation. Both parties wanted him. It was just, that's how he ended up falling. And, you know, he pushed a lot of civil rights forward, especially for that era in the 50s. And I mean, obviously the development of NASA was huge, and like anytime you drive on a highway now, you can thank him. So.
So you're going with Dwight D. Eisenhower, huh?
Oh yeah.
All right, next up we've got George H.W. Bush or Lyndon B. Johnson.
Oh man. Might be the closest one so far.
Spicy. I'm going to grab another beer.
Because they're like, again, totally different eras in history. But there was a lot that LBJ, like, he's almost the opposite of what I would say for A&W.
Oh.
Because it's like...
I was going to say Andrew Johnson.
It's like LBJ was good with domestic stuff, what he did domestically. And he was negative with foreign affairs because that was the start of the Vietnam War and like a lot of that shit that happened under him. But he was the guy that passed the Civil Rights Act and everything too. And H.W. Bush didn't focus as much domestic, and that's what lost him the election because things kind of, plateaued. But he was a great foreign affairs leader. So it's like kind of, what do you pick there? Because if you could combine the two of them, you'd have a great president.
Bush kept the economy solid the whole time he was there too.
Yeah, but I mean that's what lost him kind of the election was because there was so much kind of going on. I mean, it was all positive. That was the difference between him and LBJ too. Is a lot of the foreign affairs stuff going on around LBJ's presidency was not good.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was like it was stressful with H.W. Bush too, but like it ended up being a lot of positive results. Dude, LBJ though is one of the most hilarious characters when it comes to presidents. Like, just a southern.
Didn't Bryan Cranston play him in something? I think he did.
Know.
Or no, I know Woody Harrelson did.
Yeah, he played him in the movie.
I thought that there was like another, or maybe he played him in something else. There's that LBJ movie, and then I don't know, something else.
Yeah, he was like a southern dude who loved a good barbecue and shit, and ended up passing the most important civil rights legislation in American history, which is kind of funny.
That's it? That's all he did? No.
But like, that's just a really weird fact about him. Is it's like that it was that guy, that did it. This old white redneck that knew how to barbecue and how to beagle, and his wife's name was Lady Bird. That guy did it, But dude, he had like no shame. LBJ, like he would like be walking with a group of people to a meeting or something. He'd just take a pee on the White House lawn in front of everyone. Like he would continue to hold conversations with people like about important shit while he was on the toilet, like with the door open. He would just be like, oh yeah, like there's like recorded conversations of him on the phone, like ordering pants from this tailor. He's like, oh yeah, I think I ordered some pants from you guys last time I was in San Antonio. He's like, I need a few more of those same kinds of pairs. And he's like telling him how to make them. And he's like, I'm an older man now, I don't hang like I used to. So I want you to leave a little extra room there in the crotch area because I'm going to need it for my nutsack. And he's just like making these calls in the Oval Office of the White House.
Oh yeah, he definitely had no shame. So what are you thinking?
Oh man.
2-2 so far.
That's tough. I'm gonna lean a little bit in favor, just by the slightest hair to H.W. Bush, I think.
Really? Okay. Okay. I thought you were about to go the opposite. All right. Next up, we've got George H.W. Bush or Warren G. Harding. The cigar smoking, poker playing,
Yeah.
gambling, not giving a fuck, whiskey drinking.
Yeah, I don't really like hold him in the highest of regard.
He sounded pretty cool.
I mean, he sounded like he'd be an okay guy to hang out with.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, that was the thing. It was like the height of prohibition, and this guy was doing the exact opposite in the White House. Like, he was like smoking,
backroom games
having
and shit.
poker.
They're illegal. You
games.
shouldn't have been playing.
Dude, he had an illegitimate child with a woman he had an affair with while he was in office. Like, the dude was not the best. You know, he was like The Sopranos meets Mad Men in real life. Like,
there's a lot we could break down about these guys' individual characters.
oh yeah, for sure. But he also, the Teapot Dome scandal happened under his presidency, which got him impeached. But, like, that's not great either. And he ended up dying. Like, he didn't get impeached for the simple fact that he died in office. But he probably would have. Because that scandal was taking his presidency under. And it was, again, going back to, it's the people they're surrounding themselves with a lot of the time. They get involved in shit, selling government oil reserves to private companies and making a profit off of it that the American public didn't know anything about and didn't see any money from. Like, it was, they were funneling the money into their own pockets and got caught doing it. But again, it probably wasn't fully him that was like, yeah, let's do this. You know?
Yeah.
It's probably like happening under him, but he's the one that got remembered and taken down for it. Yeah, I'm going H.W. Bush on that one.
HW, man, he's looking pretty good here. Smiling pretty. 4-2. Whooping some asses. Like a good old Texan boy would.
The Texans.
Next up, we've got George H.W. Bush. Or Grover Cleveland.
Yeah, he's an intriguing kind of figure. Like, I don't necessarily, like, hold him in the highest regard, but I don't think horribly of him either, you know?
Yeah.
He's the only other president to have non-sequential terms.
Other than Donald.
Yeah.
The Donald.
He, before he was president, he worked, like, in the Buffalo County Sheriff's Department, and he, like, was an executioner. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah, he's, like, but a lot of stuff kind of, like, because I like Teddy Roosevelt a lot. And when he was a young politician, he kind of, like, butted heads with Grover a lot. Because there was like, that period in time, politics really became, like, a rich man's game. And it was, like, if you weren't, like, an aristocrat or, like, friends with one of these factions that basically control, that's kind of how it is now, but, like, friends with one of these factions that basically controlled these parties, like, you weren't getting seen or getting in. And Teddy Roosevelt kind of saved the fucking parties because he was a rich aristocrat that had the money and the backing and the influence, but he saw the corruption for what it was, and he was like, this is fucked. And reformed a lot of shit and changed a lot of shit. But, like, a lot of that happened. The same with Benjamin Harrison. It was happening under him too, because that was at that era of time. But, like, that was also Grover's era of time. So it's kind of like, you know, I'm going H.W. Bush.
All right. Well, right now, what is it? A
5-2.
5-2. Damn, he's whooping some ass, man. He's doing good. I think I finished with Harry S. Truman
6-4.
6-4, solid. But next up, we've got George H.W. Bush, or a man that not too far away from here, there's a farm named after Ulysses S. Grant. Grant's Farm, baby.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a hell of a. He's another one.
Great
that's
character.
A hell of a historical figure.
Yeah.
And a lot of that has to do outside of his presidency.
One of the best generals this country has ever had, period. And we would, same as like Lincoln, like we would not have probably won the war as decisively as we did if not for Ulysses.
Yeah, and he,
Meaning
what's funny
Union.
too is he had a lot of pushback early on of controlling the Union Army because there was a lot of casualties to the Union, like within every battle under him. And people are like, man,
Dude,
bloody Grant, like he's just killing all these guys, but like
he won so many huge battles.
Was aggressive.
So many huge battles.
And that was the thing, is he pushed and pushed and pushed, and it ended up being what really won the war, I mean, it was bloody, but
you knew whenever it was him and Robert E. Lee, that was like, oh, that's a heavy fucking hitting battle.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man. And that was like what the big ones were like during the Civil War. And I mean, Lincoln, he was like real tight with Lincoln, like especially after a while.
Yeah, he
believed
trust after a minute.
He believed in Lincoln, and he.
Well, because Lincoln at first was like, I don't know, like if I trust, this young kind of crazy military leader, like this smoking, drinking madman. But then, like, he saw the results under him.
Yeah. And he said
garnered
too,
a lot of trust.
In Lincoln, he's just like. And he's just like all, I forget exactly the words that Lincoln used, but all the like just kind of referring to all the casualties and all the stuff. Like he wanted to see like the battlefields after. And Ulysses is just like, you knew what this was before you came down here. Like you always knew what you were gonna be in for. Like it's not pretty, you know what I mean, like kind of thing. And Lincoln made a remark about it, and Ulysses is just like. He's like, but we've won the war. Like, you've got to lead us out of it. You know what I mean? Like, you've got to be the leader we know you are and to take us to the next, whatever's about to happen next. And that was what was going to happen. And then everything happened the way it did, so.
I mean, he got in there after Johnson, and he reformed some stuff.
Yeah.
But again, he was another one where his cabinet was doing some shady bullshit, his brother-in-law and stuff, like, under his nose, and it got him in trouble during his administration, and then they were kind of seen as untrustworthy, but, yeah, like, it's tough when you're judging just their presidencies one-on-one, but, like, historical figure-wise, yeah, like, growing up even around all the Grant stuff, too, like, he holds a lot of stake, so I'd probably lean in favor of Grant. It's hilarious too, because it was before cars were even invented, and that dude, while he was president, got pulled over in DC for speeding like multiple times, and fucking horse and carriage, dude.
You're speeding and smoking.
He's like racing through the streets of DC as president.
That dude loves smoking.
Yeah, like a good cigar.
Oh yeah. But like Ulysses seems just like that same as like Truman. I'm like, he seems resonant. You know what I mean? And like he seems like a real dude. Like but it's like he happened to be as like we were talking about Eisenhower. Eisenhower, and also like General Patton, like some of the greatest generals in the history of the fucking country. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the military helm, and like they were, and I mean. It's just like Ulysses and Lincoln like earned the trust of one another, and they both had each other's back, and that'll put us at a 5-3 now.
Yep.
We've got 2 left. Next up, we've got George H.W. Bush or James Monroe.
James Monroe. The Monroe Doctrine. That's
Yep.
like mainly what I think of with him. Which, I mean, that really held true. It kind of still does when it comes... It was a big foreign policy doctrine because
Founding father.
it was the first doctrine as a nation that we were kind of like, hey, don't try to like fucking impede on us or any of these territories around us, or we'll fucking take action. It was kind of like a notice more than anything, but it also kind of, it was influential because it was, you know, people stood by it for a long time. But yeah, he, when I think of Monroe too, I think of just like, he kind of seemed more like I think of this with Jefferson and Madison too in a lot of ways, more so than guys like Washington and Adams. Like they were kind of like the prim proper boys, you know. They liked to be prim and proper and dressed nice and clean and eating fancy dinners, and there was like that era of the founding father. He was like the first. He had like a steamboat. Monroe, he was like the first one that kind of had like presidential transportation, so he kind of toured around and got to meet with other people. That's tough though, because he's, like I said, like there's definitely things to take away from him, but like he's not one you think of all the time, you know.
How would you rank the first 5 from favorite to least?
Washington, Jefferson, Madison, Monroe, Adams.
Okay. Yeah, I would probably have. You said Jefferson second?
Yeah.
I would probably have about an identical list as that out of the first 5. Yeah, Adams, man, it just sucks, dude. He's probably like rolling his grave just pissed. He's like, hey, still, no respect. It's like, dude, you just seem pissy.
That's why. I just didn't like your attitude, man.
Just through pictures.
200 years ago.
Yeah.
You just
through
seemed like
pictures
you were kind
in
of
the
smug
fucking
and pissy.
Yeah, in the elementary and intermediate school, it just seemed like you just were a pissy little bitch. Oh
Man, that's tough, dude. Because I would never think to compare these two guys against one another.
You
really.
did it. I was gonna say the 5. That wouldn't be that hard, I guess, to do. But I'm like the 5. That's probably identical to what mine would be, though. Too. It's like I said off air, because I'm like, Jefferson. He's probably just one of the most interesting people that have ever been president. You know what I mean? Period. Like, probably top 5.
Yeah, I mean,
for sure.
He's a super early and influential president.
Oh yeah.
Dude.
Well, and not to say that even some of the big name guys aren't like just like influential or interesting, but like he just seemed like there was such a degree of things that it's like, yeah, you might not agree with, but he also had some crazy breakthrough ideas in like another way, because it's like whenever the country basically freed itself from Britain, everyone was on that page of like America and like, America first, and we'll fucking, the 13 colonies, the states that got added as they did. It just seemed like everybody was on one page, and then whenever he went in, he's like, no, I've already got some ideas for like what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And it's just very interesting because he was a part of all of that, but he at the same time had this other like side
thinker for sure.
and an edge to him that like the other guys didn't. It's like he just seemed, it was just different, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For better or worse, it's just like,
because he would agree with people and disagree with people, like it didn't matter, you know what I mean? Like he was kind of stuck by his ideas of the shit for sure.
He was definitely, not saying he was right or wrong in like a lot of the capacities that he thought and did, but it's just like he absolutely was like one of the most independent-minded people I feel like that have ever been president.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, a lot of people after him kind of were influenced by him because there were Jeffersonians and stuff that kind of followed up on his ideals. Oh, man.
Anyway.
That's fucking tough.
No, you definitely
not thinking about H.W. Bush and Monroe, like, thinking about comparing the two of them. I guess I'm going to give it to Monroe by a little bit, just because, I mean, that's, like, early influence and shit, too.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to, like, foreign policy and stuff.
Mm-hmm. James Monroe. He did seem so, like, I don't know.
A prim and proper little son of a bitch.
Yeah. Number 5. All right, so it is, what, 5-4?
Yep.
Oh, man. Well, I mean, I got to throw them out there because why not? So last up, we've got George H.W. Bush, or the founding father of our country, George Washington.
Well, that's just unfair.
I know. I got to throw him out there. You know, we didn't say Lincoln really or Washington other than
I know. Yeah, I didn't want to like throw them on.
No, I know.
Because I'm like they would probably dominate whoever.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm gonna throw him out there to just check it off. There we go.
Yeah.
Number 10.
I mean, obviously that's not taking away anything from H.W. Bush. I took him a handful of times.
Yeah. No, I mean he did pretty fucking well, to be honest. Went 5-5. I put some heavy hitters on here.
Yeah, I'd take Washington, but that's there's not a whole lot to really be said about Washington. He was the general and the leader of the Revolutionary War.
If there is the founding father, it's him.
Yeah, he's the only sitting president that during his presidency too led an army personally to situations. Like, if they're, like, the Whiskey Rebellion where people didn't want to pay tax, and he's like, listen, you gotta fucking, if we're gonna succeed as a country, you're gonna have to pay tax. Because we fucking need money somehow.
Yeah.
So he, went with an army on horseback to the people that weren't paying tax to be like, we're gonna fucking work this out. Or we're gonna fucking have a problem here.
Yeah. I mean, without his leadership and taking the fight directly to fucking Britain, over there, Christmas night, you know what I mean?
Well, the thing is, originally, he was a British soldier.
Yeah.
And even as over here living in the Americas, he still was part of the British Army, but he was just trying to expand the British Army and the British influence over here. And he, the Brits themselves gave him no respect. He could feel that they did not see him the same that they saw themselves.
Yeah.
Even though they were wearing the same uniform, he didn't get the respect from them that he thought he deserved. He's like, well, we're second-rate citizens in your mind, and we're getting taxed this bullshit. It was really if they would have given George Washington respect, none of this might have happened.
You know what? They're gonna fucking pay for it.
Yeah, he's like, you treat me like shit. I'm about fucking sick of it.
Dude, no. And it's not even to seem so, but it's at the end of the day, we would not be here, we would not be what we are, and we would not have been able to have our independence without George Washington's influence.
Yeah.
And his war fighting ability, his leadership, his fucking, you know what I'm saying? And you know what makes it honorable in a way, too? He didn't want it. He did not even want to do it.
He did not want to be president.
He was not going to be. He didn't want to be. He ended up serving 2 terms, and he was the reason why from there on, I mean, Franklin D. Roosevelt, there's a couple other situations, but for the most part, throughout all of time after that, the president served 2 terms, and then they were done.
Yeah.
All he wanted to do was be done, go back on his farm, and fucking live the rest of his life. You know what I mean?
Which unfortunately was not long after.
Was not long. You know, but I mean, without George Washington, regardless, we would not be a people here. We would not be settlers here. We would not be a country. It is what it is, and he's still one of the greatest historical figures, if not, the greatest in American history. And
yeah. Dude, you know what's crazy too is like he died from like a respiratory infection that now with modern medicine like would have been solved like that. Like it's something that would not have taken him out at all. But it was like because of the era, the shit they were doing to try to heal him, they were like bloodletting and shit. They're like, oh, well, it might be because you got bad blood. Let's just drain you of blood. So like by the time he even died, he was like white as a fucking ghost because he kept being like, oh, come in and fucking take more blood. I still feel sick. It's like, well, maybe because that's not the fucking problem at all.
Yeah. Dude, it's just. And it's like you can view it through this lens or that lens through historical context, but it's like at the end of the day, it's like it's hard not to take up for George Washington when he's the very reason we're all sitting here the way we are. You know what I mean? So it's just like,
and he was so humble in the fact that he really didn't.
He didn't want it.
At all.
He was the only person ever, and always will be, unanimously voted
unanimously
in. They're like, no, it's you, and he's like, well, I don't fucking want it. It's like, no, it's you.
Swear in now.
Yeah, it's. But it's like honestly, like it makes me feel better about him and his leadership that he really didn't want it. He's like, I don't. But literally, they were all telling him. It's like, no, it's you or it's nobody else. Like, you're the only person that makes sense to nominate and make president of this new nation, And he's just, he fucking took it. And it's just like, it's like he didn't want to take it, and he took it because he knew what an important time and figure he was in the new world.
Mm-hmm.
And thankful for that. It's just like, I mean, he obviously, he'll always be one of the greatest, if not the greatest of all time. So it's hard not to take up for him in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, he's the OG, so it's hard not to hold him up in the highest of regards,
Oh, yeah. But you're taking Washington, huh?
Yeah.
Alrighty, well, I'd say it's a good time to go to break.
Yes.
And we will be back in with some movie reviews, as well as a good old-fashioned round of the good, the bad, and the shits, and giving each other new films for the movie swap segment at the same time. We will see you guys in a moment. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Casting the Spotlight, episode number 236. Guess it's about time for the movie swap segment, huh? Gotta do our reviews here.
It is time. Heads of state, and there will be blood.
Yes. Want to start with here?
It doesn't really matter to me.
So we can just, might as well just go the order we watched, man. So we can do There Will Be Blood.
All right, yeah. 2 hour, 38 minute, pretty epic. I mean, very much like, oil fucking money, striking oil. Yeah, I was gonna say just making some big dollars, fucking slowly descending into his madness.
In a way, it was kind of like it was a fictional story, I guess, but it kind of was a American tale.
Yeah.
Kind of just take it back to the American history of it all. Like that was a big boom in our industry and economy, and got certain individuals very rich. So that was like a story to tell for sure. It's kind of funny though, because like even from the get-go of his character, it was never like he was fully a good guy you wanted to cheer for. You know what I mean? Like they never like painted him out to be a guy that was like, hell yeah, I'm behind him. Like, he's, it was just kind of like presenting, okay, this is the guy, this is his story. He is a miner that struck some oil and then started to go into that industry, and then he got some money from doing it and built bigger rigs and struck big. and they bought up more land, did it more areas.
It's all about finding the right spots too, and like once you strike in certain areas, like you're likely to maybe still strike in others, but it's like you got to take advantage of that once you do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he like bought up all the land he could around those fields because they were like soaking in it. It made him rich as hell. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it was never like he was presenting like a guy that was like, yeah, I'm behind him, you know, like Daniel Plainview, wasn't that his name?
Daniel Plainview, played by Daniel Day-Lewis, Paul Dano, probably second lead.
Probably,
yeah. It was only my second time watching it. I was kind of curious to see how it would go, because I remembered the ending a little bit differently. I mean, like, I knew it happened. It happened that little bowling alley, like those little, there's a couple sets of lanes, like were in his place, right? And
he's like sleeping on.
And I did remember he killed somebody like at the very end. I couldn't remember. I was like, and that makes sense because Paul Dano was the. It was one of those films that wasn't really made with a crazy budget. It was 25 million, made 76.2 million. It was more of like a. Yeah, so the development on There Will Be Blood began after Eric Schlosser, I'm probably mispronouncing that, purchased the film rights to Sinclair's novel in 2004. So it was based on a book, as we thought.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was gonna say, what was his relation to Paul Dano again?
He wasn't related to him at all, I don't think. I think it was just that he was the one that kind of like brought him in on that plot of land.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Or his brother did. And remember he like attacked the dad. Was like, you fucking sold him this land for nothing. So, yeah, it was like, he, I guess, gave him the initial idea, but he was thinking he was going to get rich off it too. And the town was going to profit, and it was going to lead more people to his church and build all that shit up. But he didn't realize that the guy that he was giving this idea to was just this greedy fucker that was like, I want all this for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know? That's exactly what he
Oh, no, and that's what he wanted. And, like, the bigger... It's just, you're always a byproduct of your... Like, he finally achieves, like, that amount of wealth and notoriety, I feel like, that he wanted. And just... You see a lot of people... Interestingly enough, like, because you can really see what, like, man, in theory, I mean, obviously anybody, like, or woman, but it's like, it's like you can really see what you're capable of when push comes to shove and your back's up against the wall, and your character will show through that, like, if you have what it takes and you're made of what it takes to fucking overcome that, But you also see a lot of men fold whenever they strike it rich like that, and he dealt with it by drinking a lot and fucking kind of getting out, you know what I mean,
pushing away every relationship he had, basically.
Oh yeah, and he wasn't even like having a good time with it.
Like it
was like, dude,
his son, he like ruined that completely. He basically severed that, and then like he just was up there in his house, his big old house, all alone, signing papers and getting drunk.
No, it was kind of like, damn, dude, it's like you're not even able to, like, in his like later years, as you saw.
Well, he even said though, like early on, as he was kind of getting richer, and it was almost inevitable it was going to happen at that point to his quote unquote brother, that Henry guy.
Mm-hmm. Henry and Eli, they were like both the same fucking guy though. It was both Paul Dano.
Yeah.
They said on the. Yeah,
there was Paul and Eli, right? Like Henry was the one that was posing like he was Daniel's brother. So you remember there was that guy that was like, I'm your brother.
It says That's heads of state. It says Paul and you. Okay, Paul and you.
Yeah, Paul
Henry.
and Eli,
Okay, Henry was Kevin J. O'Connor.
Yeah, that was the guy that acted like he was his brother.
Yeah.
And he was like telling him, he's like, I just don't like people. I never have. He's like, I see the worst in everyone. He's like, I want to make a lot of money and just disappear from everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like exactly basically what he did, but he just still wasn't happy. He was still just a crabby old man.
Yeah. You believed him though in his role. Like in Daniel Day-Lewis's role. It's like I'm sure he fucking believed he was that character.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was a well done performance for sure. It was like you saying the budget and the box office
and they
of
made
it, I was like
3 times what they put in.
And I mean that's still a small box office, a very small box office. It's probably like,
but you made all your money back.
It was probably mostly done like this is for the critics and for awards. You know what I mean? It was one of those movies that was more for that crowd that was gonna appreciate it.
In a novel
because
adaptation.
It didn't, it didn't like make all the money or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Or was like a big box office release, but it had like big actors. It was well performed,
Mm-hmm.
And it was also, it was like historical fiction, which sometimes those get over, but
won him an Academy Award for Best Actor.
yeah, I mean it makes sense though.
Yeah.
It was kind of his film,
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I mean if he the whole movie wouldn't have worked if he wasn't great.
Yeah, it was like relying on him for sure.
Oh yeah. But you believed him. I'm not just saying that because I'm like, because I've seen some Day-Lewis films, but I haven't actively sought out movies to watch. And maybe I should, honestly, because he has been great in everything I've seen him in. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those. He's probably in more, other than that, Lincoln too, that he won. I forget what the other one was that he was in that he won his Academy Award for. It's the only one that's won 3 leads.
Yeah.
Nicholson won 2 leads in a supporting one, but he's the closest.
I keep thinking of that whenever Paul Dano's Eli showed up at the end of the movie, and he's trying to convince him to buy up that plot of land because he needs the money or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, that's all my oil anyways. Because I own all the land around it. And I'm just gonna suck that oil up eventually anyway. So even if it is on your land right now, I still own that oil." Just how much of an asshole he was in that whole scene. But when he's Eli's trying to explain it to him, and he's just yells at his face, drainage.
Oh yeah. That was
talking about it was drainage from his oil fields.
Yeah.
He's like, "That's my oil. That's my drainage." He's like, "Say I have a milkshake over here, and you're across the room with a milkshake over there, and I get a straw, and I reach all the way across the room, and I dip into your milkshake, and I start drinking it. That's my milkshake."
Yeah. No, that was
just
great,
the greed. It was just his whole life had been enveloped in the greed at that point, but he knew that he had him because he didn't like him anyways. He was like, "Fuck you. That's my oil. I don't gotta buy that land."
No, he killed it for sure.
Yeah, he was not likable. But it was
no.
His character was also intriguing. Those scenes and stuff like that. Just the shit he said and the way he acted. He was just this guy's a real son of a bitch, man.
Oh no, he definitely was. He was a greedy son of a bitch. I remembered it even a little different than I like watch. I'm not saying for worse or for better. It's just like, but it had been 6 years or ish. So I'm like, I did not. I didn't even fully remember. Like other than like, I do remember that kind of being the closing shot though. Around then, but I also thought he just fucking. I like just there's just some scenes that you reimagine or you think like certain things happen. Because, like, he struck oil, like, a number of times, too. I just didn't know if he was like, oh, fuck, like, he got gold or he, like, stumbled upon gold or something. It's like, dude, he just, that character. It's like, that is just how Thor Oakenshield was in fucking, like, most of the third act, or, like, the second and third act of the Battle of the Five Armies.
Yeah.
That's, like, how he was.
Yeah.
He's like,
it was the typical story of like power and greed.
Yeah.
He tasted it and just
it destroyed him
into.
Yeah.
I mean, he already, like I said, he was a standoffish character, Like he openly admitted before he even really was rich that he was not a people person. He did not like people.
Yeah.
So it was like he was going to be the guy. And, it's kind of like, huh? Because when you think about it, you like, even whenever I think about it, and the way I live and who I am, I'm like, man, if I got really rich, would that be me? Would that turn into me eventually? Like, not saying that I would be like that much of an asshole, but would I just be in this big house alone, just like, hey, get me this? Sitting at a desk and shit.
Well, you wouldn't be alone if you were giving commands.
I mean, you would still be alone. Those people don't care. You don't give a fuck about you. They're there because you're paying them.
Yeah. I mean, people, they can abuse it.
Yeah.
But his performance is fantastic. But yeah, it was definitely that kind of story. But obviously, it was taken from a novel. But it was like excellently performed, and I'm not a big Paul Dano fan, but even he did a really good job too.
He plays a very unlikable guy a lot.
Yeah.
Like he was kind of like a weaselly little bitch.
Yeah.
And he is a lot of times.
Everything.
You're
gonna move on to Heads of State.
Yeah.
For our second movie reviews here. It's my first time seeing that.
Yeah, that was one that it's obviously not like an award winner, like it's not a There Will Be Blood necessarily when it comes to that kind of movie.
Mm-hmm.
But for like a prime original movie, I was actually kind of impressed by it when I saw it. I was like, damn, like there's some pretty crazy action sequences in this, and it's pretty fun and funny.
Yeah. No, it was definitely a pretty, like in today's age, that kind of comedy, it seems like it should exist more. Like that mid 2000s to like, early 2010s, like style comedy that we grew up with, even PG-13, like let alone R, but like it's a PG, what I'm saying, kind of a pretty clean, but also clever and sly, just a fun comedy,
Mm-hmm.
with a pretty, decently interesting storyline regardless. Like, you can always make something of that, whether it's action, whether it's comedy, whatever, and like they always used to, and then the culture kind of shifted away from that and just kind of put comedy in more of the other genres instead of making comedies.
Yeah.
Is what happened.
They just injected into other movies.
It's just like, you don't want to see that because some of that stuff should be what it is, regardless. I'm not saying I don't like a hybrid, because like even, action comedies, sci-fi, adventure, all that stuff. Yeah, there's so many different things that can be fun, but it's like, I noticed too, I was like, you haven't seen that kind of, I haven't really, at least in a while, because like, I mean, either they're raunchy and they are rated R, which I have nothing against raunchy, cuss words, violence, whatever the fucking movies, but it's just like, sometimes there's a cleverness to even PG-13 comedies that they used to get away with that, you know what I mean, like, was always fun, and because they did have parameters to some extent. I'm not saying I prefer PG, that over R, not that it's even about the rating, but it's like they have to toe the line and be clever in ways that whenever you have that R rating, you can just say whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And also, it works really well whenever you pair with action, and then you have Idris Elba and John Cena.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like that clash makes it work. So it's like it doesn't even need to be that. Like I said, not that it's about the rating, but like it just paints the picture differently whenever you have certain parameters. And I think we've talked about this in episodes past. But it just depends on what kind of movie you're making. You know what I mean? I think comedies, like a lot of the great comedies we've ever seen from way back, like the Will Ferrell ones, the Adam Sandler ones, you know, certain things that like Jim Carrey's done too. It's just like they were great and they were PG-13.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But no, as far as like the action adventure, like I thought that was actually pretty entertaining because it's like it was light enough for the casual viewer also to still be pretty invested. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was also kind of like a really fun just mashup of a movie for the simple fact of the casting that it was like Idris Elba is a British Prime Minister.
Yeah.
And John Cena is the U.S. President.
He was like a former action star.
Yeah. It's just that pairing in itself that just sounds like fun.
It does.
And I mean, that's really basically what it delivered on was that. I also thought Jack Quaid, like his character, he had a pretty small role in it, but he was hilarious.
Yeah. No, I liked him more than Scream 5. I saw it, not to get off track of, you know, from this for a minute, but there was somebody that was talking about like on a random page, like they just try to get you like either to agree or like rage bait kind of things, you know. But it was an actual page just talking about like the Scream movies or something, and either they put over 5 or they said something about it, and I was like, honestly, I just feel like commenting. But I was just like, honestly, I think it's the worst of the series. They did do just what we've talked about, like they did do me so dirty, and somebody like said, I agree with you, but like it's just interesting, like how they, you know, how like that, how, you know, like basically whenever you just kind of can socialize online with that kind of community, fuck, I forget the main point I was trying to get to here, but I was thinking of what's his name in the movie?
Jack Quaid.
No, Jack Quaid's like character in Heads of State. It's okay if you do, because I'm like, I don't remember.
I forget his name too.
But no, I was like, he kind of irritated me in that a little bit, but also we had our problems with Scream 5 beyond just performances or whatever anyway. But I did find him pretty thoroughly entertaining in that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The only reason I got off on that is because I commented literally just earlier about the Scream 5 thing. What was his name?
Marty Comer.
Okay. Yeah, I did like him for sure more. I mean, his character was a lot different and stuff, but
yeah, he had a decently small role.
Yeah,
like he was in the scene he was in. He stole, like it was his big scene for sure. But like all in all, he was maybe in like 10-15 minutes. You know?
Yeah, exactly. No, he's probably not terrible, but
yeah, he was like just a madman. That like he like lived in a safe house that they could come to if they ever were in a situation like this and were stranded over there. So they like showed up at his place and it was just like loaded with weapons. And he's like a really carefree, like silly dude, but he also could just like he laid out like 10 people in his living room and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the thing is I was kind of surprised the first time I saw that. I was like, man, for just being a streaming service original movie that just dropped randomly one day on here.
It came out like last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like there was some pretty high budget action sequences in that film.
Yeah.
For something like that, for sure.
It's cool that Cena's still getting to do like all that stuff too, you know, because he's really been in movies for a while at this point.
Yeah,
and he's Peacemaker.
Well, people seem to really like him. They say he's like really nice and professional on set and easy to work with, which seems, you know,
on
about right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's even what, like, I heard Eric Andre, because he just did a movie with him recently, and they were like co-stars in, and he basically said that, and he was just like, man, he's like, I don't even mean this in a mean way or anything either. He's like, but like WWE's like the best acting school out there if you want to pursue movies afterwards. He's like, just because you go to a different city like multiple times a week and perform your own monologue in front of tens of thousands of people. He's like, and then you perform like 15 minutes of your own stunt work, and you do that, a different monologue and different stunt work in like every city all the time, and you got to memorize all of it. He's like, so if you can do that, you can act. I'm like, that's like a pretty good correlation. I mean, it's not always going to work, obviously, but like there's a lot of personalities and people that it would work with.
He just feels like he knows how to handle situations almost no matter what he's in. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
Like, so he just kind of seems very conscious and aware of the move and the moment at all times. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, and that's a good, because he could pretty much do whatever you want him to do. Obviously, like, he had to retire from wrestling. But I also understand it because at the end of the day, too, like, he respects it enough to be like, if I feel like I'm slowing down at all, I'm not going to just keep going like a lot of people have. You know what I mean? He doesn't want to be 55 and, like, barely being able to, move around. So it's like, well. But he had a long, great fucking career.
Plus, he also he does have acting.
Yeah,
like, he's
exactly.
gonna get roles.
And he's always doing commercials still, too. He's, he's not going anywhere as far. I mean, and he's still, like, an ambassador for WWE.
You'll hear that voice, even if it's a voiceover in commercial. Sometimes I'll hear it. I'm like, that's Cena. Like truck commercials or something every now and then.
Oh, yeah. But no, Heads of State, man, though, I enjoyed it. I felt like it was exactly what it needed to be as far as being a pretty light but fun action adventure. And no, you're right about the action scenes, too. I thought it was pretty sick. It was like I didn't know exactly what to expect, but then once you said, they just, like, dropped. It was a Prime original, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't even know he was working on that or, like, what the hell he had coming up other than occasionally, like, appearing for DC.
Yeah, he had that that movie with Eric Andre, Little Brother, and just came out like a comedy. I watched that the other day. It was pretty good. But yeah, it was also like a Netflix original. But that's the thing, like, he's like really easy to cast with another star of some sort in like a buddy comedy kind of thing. Like, he's that guy, I feel like, right now. Like, he can do like a lot of action and stuff too, but we haven't seen Cena in like a serious role necessarily yet. He's having fun still, Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
I feel like also the dust needs to settle before somebody's ready to cast him in that serious of a role, in my opinion. In a way, like, you know what I mean, to where they can really acclimate to seeing him on screen and like that, because he'll still be casted as that, I think, for a while.
Yeah, I mean, it's worked.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it has, and like some of the stuff's been really good too.
The banter with him and Idris Elba was like pretty damn funny sometimes. When he was like talking about his like gun training, he's like, I've trained alongside the Marines, and they're like, yeah, but wasn't that on a film set? And they're like talking about like gun safety, and he's like, well, I mean, yeah, it was, but and Idris Elba was like, well, as somebody who did serve in the military, I can say, and he like gave his 2 cents, and then Cena's like, yeah, well, he never saw action, so. Just like tossed out. Just in front of all the press. He's like, yeah, well, he never saw any action, so. Just
immediately tries to fucking knock him down.
The way they were just like, trying to dig each other like on stage the whole time. It was supposed to be like a friendly joint press conference.
It's like so countries. Unorthodox for like the leaders of both nations too.
Yeah.
Like just the personalities.
Yeah, they were like but that was kind of the
I mean,
the point of the movie. Is they didn't
100%, and they teamed up
alike at all, and then this misfortune ended up bringing them together. You know. So yeah, it's like that was honestly kind of scary footage too, just to think about it, like seeing oh shit, Air Force One like just coming out of the sky and stuff when it got shot down in the movie. Just like thinking about the real repercussions of that, like damn, if that would have, like the British Prime Minister and U.S. President, oh they got shot out of the fucking sky.
Oh yeah,
over this random country.
Didn't like Trump make his own Air Force One or something like that recently? Like his own.
No, I think
like
he got gifted some plane by one of those nations. Gifted him some expensive ass luxury plane a while back.
Oh, to like after he has presidency or whatever. He's supposed to be able to take one of them with him. I don't know. I saw something pop up about that. Crazy. Anyway, yeah, no, it's all about that fucking history, man.
But yeah, those were the films.
Yeah.
Edge of State.
All right, well, before it gets too late, we got to throw out our next ones after those two. Add them to the old list.
What do you got for me next here?
As far as movie goes?
Yeah.
All right, well, this is going to be another one up the historical war vein of things, I will say. But I think the only time I've watched this is probably the only time you watched it too, if you watched it then. The movie Glory from 1989.
Yeah, I know Glory for sure.
A historical war film directed by Edward Zwick, telling the story of the 54th Massachusetts Volunteer Infantry, one of the first African American regiments in the U.S. Civil War, led by Colonel Robert Goldshaw, who's Matthew Broderick. The film, starring Denzel Washington, who won an Oscar for his role, Morgan Freeman, and Carrie Elwes. How the hell you say that? Despite the unit's struggle against racism within the Union Army and their courageous performance in battle, culminating in the assault on Fort Wagner.
Yeah, I definitely. I've
only seen that once. If it was American History through films.
Yeah, I watched it as a kid. I think we watched it maybe in school as a kid in one of my classes, and then history through films. You watched it through that for sure. I figured I'd throw it out there. I figured maybe you had seen it once. Yeah, I think I've seen it like probably twice at least, but it's definitely been a long while. Me too. The only other time would have been a decade plus ago. Yeah. When we watched it then. So I was like, I figured I'd throw it out there. Denzel Washington, Morgan Freeman. Yeah. Some great people. 1989. So it was pretty young for them too. Mm-hmm. And I'm anxious to rewatch it too. So I'm like, we'll throw that out there. It's the 4th of July, episode. Yeah. So we'll throw that one. It's another war one, but that one isn't too crazy. It's like 2 hours and 2 minutes. So it's not too brutal. Like Oppenheimer and fucking Nuremberg. Yeah. There will be blood. They were some brutal ones. And I had The Last Samurai a couple weeks ago. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, that should be alright. I've only seen it probably once that I can ever remember. Yep. Alright, and yours, from me, this came out last year. I don't think you've seen this. I saw this in theaters, and it was one that I was just like, damn. It was listed as a horror film, and I wouldn't necessarily say that. It's sort of like a drama in a lot of ways, but it is a Stephen King adaptation. The Long Walk. It was his first book he ever wrote, actually. Really? At 19 years old. Huh. But the overview just says, teens participate in a grueling high-stakes contest where you must continuously walk or be shot by a member of a military escort. That's the simplest way to put the film, basically. That is the overview. That's what happens. It's like this annual contest where a group of teen boys get called to participate in this thing, and it's televised, and it's supposed to like bring the nation together. It's like a dystopian future where we're like a nation on our knees, basically. We're at the government's will, and we're not doing good, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like we do competitions like this and stuff, and it's supposed to bring, oh, look at the stride and the effort of these young American men, you know? Let's televise this, and the winner gets a wish or whatever they want. So it's like there is something for it, but there can only be one winner.
Yeah.
So it's like these young men are making friends with each other on this walk, but in the back of your minds, you know, man, only one of us is going to be able to live by the end of this. So it's pretty damn interesting.
Yeah, I know that I have not seen that one, but I'm sure it'll be an interesting one.
Yeah, I remember
it did pretty
watching
well
that last year, and yeah, I think so. I think score wise too, it did pretty well. But I remember going to see it just some random like Saturday morning last year and being like, damn, like that was heavy in certain ways.
Yeah.
Because like obviously it's gonna be, because like you kind of just know a lot of these people are gonna die, you know. But also it was like that was pretty fucking well done. And it's kind of crazy that it was like Stephen King, young Stephen King, you know.
And they finally made it into an adaptation.
Yeah. Alright, so Glory and The Long Walk on the next one.
Alright. Keeping with them, there's going to be, on the next Movie Swap Cinema, there's going to be so many war movies.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. But there's so many stories to tell, so they all can be very distinctly different too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you didn't see like an awful lot of combat or anything like that in Nuremberg. You know what I mean? Since it was about the trial, for the most part, interviews and such.
Yeah.
All right.
There's a lot. Yeah, it was like courtroom.
Oh yeah. Goring. They like the music changed everything for him. Where he was dun dun. He just looked like he was 270. It's like, dude.
Yeah, I mean, he was
a husky
that was his heel theme song as he entered.
And then like he like made sure he was the last one standing and shit.
Alright, should we get into some good, the bad, and the shits then here?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Well, I can toss one out here.
Alright.
Well, I'm sure you've seen, I don't know if you watch Night of Champions or not, but Mr. Sami Zayn won the WWE title.
I did see that.
Which, I mean, I had a weird sneaking suspicion, what I have before when he's had a title opportunity in Saudi Arabia, especially.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, they might do it here. But they haven't in the past. But I had that feeling again, especially since he's kind of been the afterthought with this Gunther Cody thing. It's like, and he was for sure the fan favorite throughout that match. And they did it. So, I mean, part of me is like, oh man, as a Sammy fan, I'm like, it's cool. Happy for him. But at the same time, I'm like, if this would have been a built-up story and he won it at Saudi Mania, then...
That's what they were originally gunning for, I heard.
I think that he would have probably had a lengthy run. Yeah. But then now, them pulling the trigger right now for the shock value purposes of it kind of makes me feel like he's not going to hold it all that long.
It'll be inside of probably like 3 months, you think?
Yeah. I mean, probably.
I don't think it's gonna be longer than 6, but I don't even think it's gonna be 6.
Yeah, I don't think he gets out of Survivor Series with it, and that's November.
Yeah. No. probably hold it for like. He might beat Jay's reign, which is like 2 months.
I mean, he might not get out of SummerSlam. Who knows?
Yeah.
But
so now it's what Roman, Seth,
he
Brock,
did get the
Oba,
moment,
and fucking
though.
Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
Those are 2 big ass matches booked though already.
Oh yeah.
Big
I hope they
matches.
deliver on that Hell in a Cell though, because Brock and Oba's matches so far combined are like 11 minutes. So I hope they deliver at least a little
Brock's
bit of
gonna
a
lose
match
his
in
first Hell in a
Cell.
Cell. That's what's gonna happen. Think Roman beats Seth though?
Part of me thinks so, yeah. But
I guess we're gonna do an episode on it.
At the same time, though, Roman did say he was going to be around through the summer. So does that mean he's going to lose the title and dip out after SummerSlam for a while? I don't know. You know?
My instincts tell me Roman will beat him, but yeah, we also don't know a lot of those facts.
But it feels like the bloodline's doing too much shit right now for him to just leave.
Yeah. Well, and for a while they were doing the same storyline with taking him out. Oh, somebody attacked him. And then it's like, you don't even need to do that. We know he's fucking leaving.
So the Raw after Mania. And, he got his ass beat. We do this. We've done this 4 years in a row.
Yeah. Oh man, we haven't seen him since. We know. So wait, what was your good, the bad, just particularly?
Sammy winning the belt. Just in general, I guess when it happened, how it happened, the circumstances.
When it happened, how it happened, I'm gonna say fair.
Yeah, I wanted him to win it at some point.
I'm not the biggest Sami Zayn fan. I also am not like a hater of him. I just have always been like, and not that you can't like both, but I've always preferred Kevin Owens to him. Mm-hmm. Because I knew that Sammy was El Generico from ROH as well, like Kevin was Kevin Steen. But it's like, Kevin just, in my opinion, always had him. Like, okay, like, you wish that some of his championship reigns would have been a little better, a little longer, and then he could come back and win more, you know? But we'll see on that. But I know that they had pushed it for a while, but we questioned this not that many episodes ago when we were talking about the LA Knight thing with somebody, and are they ever going to pull the trigger, or are they just going to tease it? But I 100% agree with the take that because they pulled the trigger now, it probably more likely means that he's not going to have a long reign.
Yeah.
I would definitely agree with. And I'm not saying that makes me, that's what it feels like watching for such a long time. I would say it's probably fair, because if they were going to pull the trigger, but it's like, it does suck too, same as Jay, if they're like, all right, well, you're getting it, let's say it's 3 months. And that wouldn't even be, that would, I guess, be out of SummerSlam, but it's like, if it's 3 or less, whatever. It's just crazy, because maybe they do that, and then that's, oh, you got it, that was it. I don't know. But, I guess we'll see. I think it does, in my opinion, feel like, and I'm not just saying this because I'm trying to hate on him or anything else either, but it does feel like the way they pulled the trigger, especially, that he's not going to be in that position very long. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, because it was kind of like, holy shit, and Gunther and Cody are both like immediately pissed. They're still surrounding it. It just feels like there's a lot of people kind of circling around it, Yeah. So it doesn't feel like. Maybe
one of the big guys
they'll
might
give
rip
him
it off him.
Yeah, maybe they'll give him a cool run, and he'll defend the belt a decent amount in a small amount of time and lose it. But we'll see. But you would say fair?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with fair.
All right. What do you got?
All right. Well, I still only have one, so I'm gonna come up with my second one impromptuously before
Man, it's
we
kind
wrap
of
here.
how I'm feeling, to be honest with you. But
What? With this?
yeah, I'm like, I have potentially a second one, but I'm like, I don't know if I can do that one or not. You know what I mean? I'm like kind of actively searching here.
Well, I'm gonna throw my one that I do have out there. My good, the bad, the shit's topic is pride in the American flag. We were talking about it a little bit off air.
I don't know. Like I said, it's still ever present in our culture. Like it's still around. You know, I see it a lot. It's at every sporting event. It's behind every president, every politician's when they're speaking. It's like it's still a very present thing, but yeah, that has been kind of seen as like, oh, where'd you fucking, which in ways, I'm never gonna own a big ass truck and stick one in the bed of the truck, but I'm also not gonna be like, where's this fucking idiot for doing it, you know? Is it over?
I think so. Full time today, 2-0. Oh man.
Whoop the ass.
Yeah. But yeah,
But yeah, I mean, if anything, I would say fair to underrated.
yeah.
It's between the two of those, but
Well, certainly by, and I'm not even gonna say like half the country, but like certainly by a number of people, it's not even like, it's like, oh no, that's too much. It's like, affiliated with the country. It's like, okay, but at what point are you ever gonna be happy? You know what I mean? Even if all this change, are you still gonna like rep the? You know what I mean?
yeah.
We've got to actively get out of the mindset that we're in, to save what's left here, because like we can't be. It's such a, I don't know. It's such a bad place with that, but it's the American flag. It's not a party's flag. It represents all 50 states.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, it's the country's
It's
flag.
the country's flag, regardless.
It's every Olympian
Yeah.
that wins at the Olympics holds it up.
Exactly.
So
it's still the country's flag. It's not fucking, you know what I mean? And that's like why I fucking, I'm gonna represent it.
yeah.
I'm not like, like I said, I don't put bumper stickers on my car or anything like that. But it's like, I don't put any bumper stickers on there, or any magnets or whatever the fuck. But like, I still am gonna take pride in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I would say maybe a little. Like I said, it would be potentially fair to a little underrated, but I'm gonna lean maybe a little underrated. Just because, yeah, it does feel like it's been given like a weird connotation. It's definitely it's not that with everyone for sure. Like
No.
there's a lot of people on both sides that still
Probably for a third of the
have fun
country,
with
it's
it.
got a weird.
Yeah, but yeah, I still.
Which is
I mean, it's
asinine.
still a
because
symbol.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's like it's still your flag.
So
like it's on something of yours, I guarantee it. Like just because the stuff you have to sign, the stuff you have to, whatever. So I don't know. People are weird though, and have limited perspective. But anyway, yeah. So that was mine. So you said underrated?
underrated.
Alrighty. Well, that's good. I'm gonna try to come up with my next one on the fly too after yours. You got something?
Oh yeah, I guess I'll just throw this random as hell one out. I don't think I've ever done this, but I can't say that it's been. I mean, it's been a long time at this point since I've taken a bath. I used to love soaking in a hot tub. Haven't done it in a long time though. But as a kid, there was nothing better than a bubble bath. Having a bunch of bubble soap poured in over the drain as the water was coming out and just filling the tub up with bubbles and just getting in that shit and playing around. And even as an adult now, there's bath bombs and all this stuff. But it's like, it doesn't feel like, as an adult, it's just like, you lose the luster of it. You lose the fun and the comfort of a bubble bath.
Yeah, it feels too forced. Do you think?
Yeah,
Just
I mean,
like,
what's your take on a bubble bath? I mean, that's the thing is for kids, it's seen as like oh, I'm having fun. I'm gonna give myself a beard and I got my duck. But like for adults, it's like sexy.
Yeah,
that's the only thing you're not.
I'm sure if you got
don't think of it as
money too, it's
relaxation.
real sexy because you got a fat house and a nice
In a
bath.
big tub. Yeah. But like, yeah, that's also the thing. It's like
that
in natural
that
human
circumstance,
life.
I wouldn't take one in there.
Like the image of like the pretty woman in a bubble bath with the leg.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like
With the wine.
yeah. It's like, well, that's relaxation. But there's also like the hint of like, what are we doing here? This is like a sexiness too, but also that's a tub. You're not putting more than one person inside a tub. You know?
Yeah.
Unless you're a rich ass motherfucker with a big ass tub.
Yeah. Exactly.
Then you'd be having jacuzzis and bubble baths all the time.
Man, it's been a long time since I've taken a bubble bath. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, dude, I don't even have. Oh, I guess I could.
Definitely more than 20 years.
Technically
That's
now.
for sure.
Yeah. 20 years.
Yeah, I would still be 10.
2/3 of my life.
It was
at
probably a
least.
long time before that. I mean, it'd be sick if, like, you were that guy with the fat tub and all the bubbles.
I mean, it would. That's the thing. Like I said,
But,
it's
like-
still nice if you're like sore or cold or something to run a hot tub and soak. It still feels good.
Yeah.
But
I just haven't done it, dude, in a long... I mean, I've taken, I guess... Okay, in that time, I've definitely taken, like, an ice bath for a minute, but even that was uncomfortable as fuck, so I didn't even stay in that long.
that's not comfortable.
Yeah. No. It's meant to be discomfortable.
Yeah.
Uncomfortable.
But yeah, it's been a minute even for me. But that's the thing. If I'm running a bath and getting in there, it's just to soak and to like relax my muscles and to chill. It's not to clean up. If I'm cleaning up, it's always a shower because like you're soaking in your own shit in the tub. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like there is that stigma around it. I do like a bath, man, but it's
In
like
your own, like, dirt and everything
Yeah.
people always say. Yeah.
soak in the bath for a little while, then drain it, start the shower. That's probably the way to go, because then you naturally clean the bath out too without having to clean it, because you take a shower in there. Bubble baths, man. You're a big fan of them, huh? You're like, I'm a big fan of them if I'm a millionaire.
I'm
That's
sure then
it.
I would fucking be a big fan of them. I might just have to go with fair, honestly, again, because To me, it would depend on like the context. Like I don't know if I would take one, but I mean,
It would have to be like
if it was plenty
big
like
tub,
spacious and just kind of it's
a
like
nice
if it was
one.
more. I mean, not that I couldn't make it comfortable, but it's just like I don't you know what I mean. I don't really have a desire to. I'd rather just step in there, shower, do everything quick.
Yeah.
Although it would be nice just to chill in the tub, and maybe instead
that's the thing. It's nice to be able to lay back and sit down. Sometimes, especially after a long day. That's why, like, sometimes after a long day at work where I'm beat, but, like, I've been sweating my ass off or whatever, and I'm like, or I'm just dirty. I'm like, man, I need to come home and shower. So, I get home, jump right in the shower, do all that, and then as I'm, like, drying off, it's like the amount of effort I have to exert while drying my body off, that's when it all hits me. I'm like, fuck. I'm ready to sit down, dude.
Yeah.
It's like all the heat and everything gets you then. You're not under the comfort of the shower. It's like, yeah, because I feel like I have to, after a day of work, jump in the shower. Like, I need to get in the shower now. But yeah, it's also
I'm sure
like
certain
after
days you do.
exerting days of work too, it's like, damn, I gotta shower.
That fucking humidity today wasn't no joke.
This whole week it's been a son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Not gonna be any better tomorrow either.
No, and then it's gonna rain for like fucking 4 days straight. Which is gonna be the shits too.
Hopefully it at least cools some shit off for a minute.
But the air is gonna be even worse coming out of it. Because it's gonna be moisturous as fuck.
Humidity in the air.
Yeah. That's
hopefully
why we
at least cools the
all the rain already
off
brought this. And then we're gonna get even more. It's a disaster.
Yeah, it's either lately it's been either hot or rain. That's been the only two choices.
But yeah, I think I'd say fair for that.
Okay.
It might be different though. Yeah, I was gonna say if I ever took them or if I was like, oh man, I got a great one. I'd be like, oh, this shit's great.
Yeah,
you could just be chilling.
Yeah, I still would enjoy one probably every now and then, but it's been a minute. I just don't think of doing it, But some evenings whenever I'm like feeling a little beat up from the week or whatever, and I'm like, oh, it probably would be nice to just lounge out in one for a minute.
I do have one, and I think it's very possible during the early days of casting Spotlight, maybe one of us threw it out there. I'm sure it's definitely a possibility. But I was going to just throw out there 4th of July, obviously, coming up here. Throw it back into the 250th anniversary of America's birth. And we're going to say, what do you think of firework shows, displays, however you want to phrase it?
Like the ones that it's like put on people's houses, or like the big professional ones?
Either or, I guess just the whole concept of it.
I mean, I'd probably, if anything, say fair as well. Like, because, yeah, they get some pushback, I guess, every now and then because, oh, should set some shit on fire out here, or like, oh, it disturbs everybody in the neighborhood. There's people that fucking hate it.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But, I mean, it just is such a symbol of, it just looks like celebration, And it's like, it really is beautiful. It's kind of crazy that they're able to pack gunpowder in these little tubes you shoot up in the sky and they look like that. It's like, I don't know how they did that, really.
Every year, man, there's people just being reckless, though, and paying the price for it.
Oh, yeah. But a lot of times that people really get fucked up by them, it's like, man, what were you doing? I can say that now because it didn't happen to me, but I did dumb shit, too, with them when I was younger. Like,
oh, yeah.
We all did.
Bottle rocket wars and...
Yeah, I'd hold them and, like, wait
that.
For the last second and then loosen the grip so it'd shoot out of my hands. Like, that's fucking crazy. Like, what was I doing?
No, it is too, because if somebody's not paying attention, how quickly something can go god-awfully wrong.
Like,
it's just
lighting firecrackers that had short-ass fuses that go like, and then blow up, like lighting them in my hand and chucking them and shit. It's like, bro, I'm
Maybe you
so
should stick
lucky
to the snap and pops.
that I didn't like lose some digits, you know?
Yeah.
Really. I mean, but I think a lot of people can say that because we all went through an era, if we grew up around fireworks and using them, that we used them recklessly. Like, especially when you're like a teenager and you're like, oh, this would be kind of funny.
Yeah.
Speaking of the devil, firework just went off out there.
Well, they're coming.
There's going to be a lot of them going off these next handful of days. Yeah, I would say fair on the fireworks display, though.
Okay.
I think they're cool. Like, I went to some as a kid. Like, I remember going to a handful of them for 4th of July whenever I was younger. It's like, you know, pretty fond and distinct memories because I still remember them from being a kid. So maybe don't remember what the actual fireworks looked like, but you remember, like, going to the displays.
I remember always having those light sticks and cracking them and putting them around your wrists and your neck and your, you know, all over, you know what I mean? Making like little bracelets.
Anytime you're going to be hanging outside at night.
They're like little lightsabers, you know.
Like, oh, man, I get to hang outside at nighttime. I gotta fucking get some glow sticks.
I fucking love those things, dude, so much. I thought they were awesome.
The glow sticks?
Oh, yeah. Just lighting it up. Oh, man, this is cool. I just wanted some, even if it's 4th of July or not. Like, I was like, I want to just mess with them, you know?
Yeah.
You don't want to break them open. People do that and get sick and die.
I definitely remember accidentally busting a couple open, having to trash them. Oh, like as a kid too, it's like, I feel like the ones we got were more dangerous. It's like they fucking actually would bust open. No, don't bust these open. And like you'd be like, shit, this shit's leaking on my wrist. It's like a 6-year-old. Like, why would they give me this? Just be glowing on your skin.
It was, I don't know, I love those things though. We would always do that. Like, I've done a number of things for the 4th over the years. Just, it's been all, you know, sometimes they're at the Beatrice's house and...
We used to, back whenever I was younger, like, we used to host a 4th of July celebration at the house because we lived out in Jefferson County so we could light off fireworks and a big display. So everybody would come out, like on my dad's side. That was always fun. Those are fond memories.
Yeah.
From my childhood.
Barbecue and shit?
Yeah, like my Uncle Tim and my dad and a couple other people depending on who every year, but it was always them two would like throw in for the display and like go down and buy it. It was just always like exciting, you know?
Yeah.
Like, oh shit. Tonight's the night. We're gonna see all this shit get set off. It always felt like it was like, that's it. You know what I mean? It's like you would go out and run out with them and buy all this shit. You'd be like, damn, dude, we're gonna be lighting it up into the middle of the night, man. And then it'd be like 30 minutes. You'd be like, what the fuck was that?
Oh, yeah. Dude, you can spend so much money.
Oh, a ridiculous amount.
To put on a good little show.
That's why it's always crazy when people have a crazy amount of them, where they're just like have them around.
Dude, that's thousands.
Like, how the fuck?
Thousands.
Not to mention, like, if you're stacking that shit up, like, just in your basement or somewhere, it's like, that's a fire hazard if you're not setting them all off, because you have all these, like, if you have, like, multiple big displays stacked on top of each other, dude, that's a fucking bomb, bro, if they all go off at once.
Yeah. And they could.
It's like a shitload of gunpowder just stacked up in your basement.
And gunpowder.
I saw a video the other day of a guy that like was driving on a highway in Tennessee, and he had a bunch of fireworks in the bed of his truck, and I guess he was smoking a cigarette in his truck or something, and he's flicking it out, and he set off some of them, and it set them all off. and this dude's driving a fucking pickup truck, and he's like stopped, just at a dead stop on the interstate, and there's just like going in every fucking direction, just fireworks. People are like at a full stop on the highway. I'm like, what the fuck do you even do at that point?
Stay in your car.
You just gotta wait for it to end, I guess.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're going.
Yeah.
Damn. Hell yeah.
Yeah, but it's like
No,
every
that's
year
crazy.
you hear about people getting hospitalized and like shit blowing up. But it's all, or like I said, it's usually like they are always warning on the news, oh, be careful, don't set the fields on fire. And stuff like that, like every year. But they're damn fun. They really are. Oh, you know, it happened last year. There's a drought. You know, the fire department had this many calls.
Dude, it's like, how is there a drought when it rained 7 fucking days
Well,
in a
this
row?
year there might not be. For once. Oh, it feels like damn near every 4th of July, it's fucking... every year growing up, it felt like it was like that. They're like, be careful setting off fireworks. We're in a drought. It's like, yeah, we're in a drought because it rained all April and all May.
Oh, well.
And now it hasn't rained in fucking over a month.
But even that should be enough rain to last over that month.
Now when it's hot and sunny out every day.
It's just a ridiculous the way it works.
But yeah, 4th of July right around the corner.
America 250, man. Well, that was one hellacious edition of the this or that earlier.
Yeah.
I mean, across the board, obviously, too, but it just...
Hell of an episode. Long one for a solo, that's for
yeah.
sure.
Oh, yeah. No, probably the longest solo of all time. I think it is. But ladies and gentlemen, whatever you do this weekend, be careful. Be safe. Don't blow your fingers off.
Could happen. Don't do it.
Thank you very much for listening. Thank you for watching. And 250 anniversary, man.
Yep.
God
Happy
bless
4th.
America. Thank you everybody so much for watching and listening. And we will see you next time for episode 237. Stay safe out there and have a great night.